Okay. I think I'm live twice. Let me make sure. So for those who weren't here yesterday, there's a new function on StreamYard where you can stream 2 streams at once, okay? 2 streams at once. One in vertical mode, one in horizontal mode. So let me just hang on. Let me just make sure I've set them both up. It's a whole thing. It's a whole process, guys. It's a whole process. Bear with. Bear with. Okay, there's the horizontal one. Hope this all works. And yeah. Seems to be working so far. Live, let's see. Okay. Sorry. Bear with. Okay, there's 2 streams going. Yep, 2 streams. I know it's confusing, guys. That means you're going to see like half the messages, but I should see all of them so long as I'm on the ball. Okay, there's that. Let's see how we're doing. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to dip out of this one. Okay, sorry about the long delay to get set up here. Okay. So here's the backstory of this. Yesterday, I was streaming, as I tend to do, streaming our good friend L, Vegan Gaze, who had made videos about this guy we're about to watch. And I thought, wow, this requires a deep dive. So I've pulled up some dramatic investigatory music for you guys so that I can recreate the moment when I decided this requires a full-blown investigation. Drop everything because I need to understand how this all happened. So here's the backstory. A year ago, this guy debated vegan gains. Now, here's where the story gets juicy. And this is where I had to do some deep investigation, okay? Here's our music. Wait for it. Okay. You're looking at the debate. Okay? You seeing that? You guys are going to be, your minds are going to be blown. Look at this. Okay. August 12th, 2024. Over a year ago, right? Okay. Now, that culminated in this channel. Look at this. 7 months ago, first video. And why does that matter? Because, guys, this channel is completely focused on being butthurt about vegan activism. Look at this. Hey, I'm the Omni King, short for the Omnivore King. Short version's got a better ring to it. Anyway, I make content about annoying vegan activists that we all can't stand. So my question to you, chat, Did Vegan Gains break his brain? We're going to find out. I haven't watched the debate. Maybe I did. I don't know. Long time ago. We're talking over a year ago. I think I'd watched some of it. But look how triggered this guy is. Look how many videos he's made about vegan teacher. Look at this. Look. Look, guys. Look at this. It goes deep. It goes so deep. Guys, this is Meat Flake of the Year. Hands down. No one else got this triggered. No one. No one. I thought when we were watching Elle's video yesterday and her subsequent debate with one of his fanboys that I couldn't have seen any more triggered him. And then I had to look at it myself. So again, first vid 7 months ago. And this one, this debate with Vegan Gains from August of 2024. So we're going to find out what happened here. And did this guy's brain actually come undone? Triggering a downward spiral into a vortex of vegan hatred, culminating in the creation of a channel solely devoted to being butthurt about vegan activists. Let's find out. I'll still have that if need be. I'll still have it. Okay. I'm well impressed. I'm well impressed. All right, let's get into this here. This old debate.
We'll try to keep things civil. Obviously, you know, we started doing this debate over the video you did about vegans being unhealthy. That's what spurred this whole thing. My idea was to maybe cover the ethical principles of veganism first, debate that for a while, and then later on we can maybe debate some of the health stuff and maybe talk about some of the specific claims you made in your video.
What up, Steven?
Yeah, sounds good to me. That works for me.
Okay.
All right. So you might have heard a few different definitions of veganism. Some people say it's just a diet. Some people say it's an ethical lifestyle. You might have heard the definition from the Vegan Society thrown around a bit. You know, veganism is a lifestyle choice and ethical practice to reduce animal product consumption as much as practical and possible. I don't follow that definition. You'll find more of the vegans in the debate space don't follow that position. Veganism, as I defined it, is a philosophical belief and ethical practice and lifestyle practice in which we grant human rights to animals if human beings were to be trait equalized to those animals. So we would grant the same rights to a chicken as we would grant to a human being with a similar level of cognitive capacity. So if you wanted to formalize this into a syllogism, my argument would be human beings are granted rights due to traits they possess, such as sentience. Animals share these same traits, therefore animals should have human rights. So if you're going to argue that animals should not have human rights, you're going to have to provide some sort of symmetry breaker. You're going to have to point out some sort of trait that they lack that would disqualify them from having human rights. And in which case, in order to be logically consistent, you would have to accept taking away human rights from human beings that also lack those traits.
Okay.
So my challenge to you would be to name the trait.
Well, I don't know if you could just break it down to a singular trait. I think it's got to be...
Doesn't have to be a singular trait. It could be in conjunction.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I would think it'd be a multitude of different things. Well, first off, I think obviously to differentiate humans from animals and talking about giving animals human rights, we'd have to understand how is it that humans get their rights in the first place? It's just something, I mean, I see it as something pretty arbitrary that we've just decided to give to ourselves to protect ourselves from each other, whereas animals don't have that same capacity to be able to protect themselves from themselves. So
thus the need for the right, you idiot. You already.
they kill from animals and
So
talking about
he said the reason that we give human beings rights is to protect human beings from ourselves. Animals don't have the same capacity. Therefore, we don't give them rights. That it's the opposite. Therefore, we give them rights to protect them from us.
giving animals human rights, we'd have to understand how is it that humans get their rights in the first place? It's just something, I mean, I see it as something pretty arbitrary that we've just decided to give to ourselves to protect ourselves from each other, whereas animals don't have that same capacity to be able to protect themselves from themselves. So they can't really uphold
from themselves.
Those rights if we were to give them to them, nor could they interpret or understand that those rights even exist or what they mean or what that.
Those rights are meant to protect them from us, not from themselves.
That constitutes for them.
So just to be clear, the first trait would be moral agency.
You could put it that way.
Okay.
You could put it that way. I think because the thing is about animals is, for the most part, they act a lot on instinct. And I think a big differentiating factor is that humans more so have the ability to negate their instincts, whereas a tiger living in the jungle, their instinct is going to be to hunt prey. And they're going to do that the second that they see prey. And there's no process in their brain that makes them think to themselves, I'm violating this prey animal's rights, therefore I shouldn't do it. And so if the tiger is unable to comprehend those rights and to enact those rights, then they cannot have them. So that's kind of
then
where I would say there's the difference.
Then a human who can't articulate or understand rights then should not have them. Is that what you're saying?
Between at least one of the differences between humans and animals, just the ability to even comprehend those rights in the first place. So that's my take on that. And
I think animals can comprehend that they would rather not be murdered. So just because they don't speak your language doesn't mean they can't comprehend the concept of leave me alone.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, so there are many human beings that lack moral agency. So mentally disabled people would be an example. There's also people who are, say, severely mentally ill. So you have people who suffer from severe schizophrenia. They, especially paranoid schizophrenia, they often end up getting severe delusions where they think if they kill their parents, they'll prevent World War III. Or they think that a certain person is demonically possessed and is going to kill them. You often hear those sorts of stories, and they can't be criminally prosecuted like a normal person because, again, they're not deemed mentally capable of having agency in those sorts of situations. So would you be okay with holocausting mentally disabled people and turning them into hamburgers?
Well, I don't think cannibalism is right, so definitely not turning them into hamburgers. And I don't really know exactly what I mean by holocausting, like killing people for no reason. I don't think that killing people for any reason, well, for no reason, I guess, because I mean, even if they commit a crime, I'm not really a big fan of like the death penalty. So I don't think that.
Well, we're not talking about committing a crime. I asked you to name the trait. So the trait you named was moral agency. There are, in fact, human beings that lack moral agency. We agree on that. So in order to be logically consistent, if you think it's okay to kill animals due to them lacking moral agency, then it would be okay to kill mentally disabled people, severely mentally ill people, and kill them, turn them into hamburgers.
The thing is, though, that still is being cannibalistic, which I don't agree with. But
that
either way,
doesn't matter. I asked you to name the trait. So if you think it's okay to kill and eat animals, and the trait you named that animals are lacking is moral agency, therefore, in order to be logically consistent, you'd have to be okay with killing mentally disabled people and severely mentally ill people.
Well, moral agency is just a part of it. I think there's more to it than just moral agency.
I told you it could be a conjunction of traits. So do you want to name any more?
I think, I don't know if I already said it, but I think it's also just, well, first off, biology. So, and also just nature. So humans are fundamentally.
Biology and nature. Let me write it down. Biology nature.
Different all the way down to our genes. And so we are, I'm gonna have to use the like kind of food chain argument, I suppose. So I think that.
Are you gonna have to?
Anything that is above something else in the food chain that is capable of eating something below it has the right to do so. So if, again, I bring up like the tigers or whatever, anything that.
So his argument is might makes right. So if you can harm someone, it's fine for you to do so. That's your logic.
They hunt, they're allowed to do so because that is what their body needs in order to prosper. So I think that besides moral agency, it's just a matter of being a different species altogether. So because a rabbit isn't a human, a rabbit doesn't have the same functions as a human, it doesn't have the same cognitive understanding of the world, that it doesn't have the same rights as us. That's kind of how I would put it. So when it comes to like a person who's severely disabled, they still are human, and they're not a rabbit. They're not a different species than we are, and we have a duty to ourselves as a species, because animal species are all about the preservation of themselves, and that's just how nature functions. So killing a human goes against our nature, because that doesn't help our species prosper, which every species is all about their own.
I know they're not going to get into it, but eating animals does not make us prosper. Quite the opposite. In fact, it's killing us, killing the planet, killing the animals. It's lose, lose, lose. The hospital is filled up with people in the cardiac wing because they ate animals their whole life, and now they have heart disease. But you don't actually care, do you? Of course you don't. Until it happens to you, then you're going to care. And this is what happens to a lot of people. You see, they eat themselves into a heart attack, and then their doctor says, you're going to have to go easy on the cholesterol, and then they go plant-based for a while. Happens all the time.
On survival. So I feel like that's just incorrect to do that. But those people, the way I think to be a more one-to-one comparison is just not like lacking the, what is it that you said is like the moral kind of like responsibility. There's more to it than that, because the way I would kind of compare it is, I would probably say that a person that actually has the mind of a tiger, that has the mind of a bear, is going to behave very differently than someone that just lacks moral empathy. Somebody that behaves, that has the brain, basically the functions of a bear, is going to resemble a bear, and that person I don't think would have rights, because they could just decide, you know what, I'm just going to eat a person. I'm just going to.
But this is what you've decided. You're the one who's appealing to nature and saying that you, in fact, have the mind of a tiger or a bear, and you just get to decide which animals you eat. That is your mindset. So he doesn't seem to recognize that.
Kill whatever because I'm defending myself or whatever, those animalistic instincts that humans are able to overcome that they're not able to. So that's kind of how I would put it, if that makes sense to you at all.
Yes.
No, it doesn't make sense. I mean, it makes sense that you're confused. We knew that.
So, couple questions. What do you mean? You mentioned genes being a trait, so like, and being human, part of the human species. Like, what do you mean by that? Do you mean being like part of the species Homo sapien?
Well, yeah, I just kind of mean our genetic makeup is just what makes us human, just down to our genes, is different than what makes a tiger or a rabbit. And I think us differentiating, I don't think there's some law, but I think just us being the most intelligent species and deciding to differentiate that because they're not human, I think is totally reasonable.
Okay, and how would you define species?
How would I define species? Creatures that have very, very different characteristics, enough there where you cannot breed with them. You can't, there's things that just, for instance, like a deer recognizes another deer, right? And a deer's not typically is going to be hostile towards another deer unless it's for like, like mating reasons or something like that. But they recognize another deer, they recognize that they're part of the same species. Like even animals can do that. Rabbits will hang out with other rabbits, but a rabbit's not necessarily going to hang out with a cat, or, there's some, obviously there's some exceptions to that. Like some animals will hang out with other different animals, but that's generally.
right? Oh dear. Oh man.
Not the case. Most animals will stick with their own kind. So even animals themselves kind of categorize themselves. So the way I mean, obviously there's a technical definition of what a species is, but I mean, I study physics, not biology, so I don't know what that technical definition is, but that's just kind of how I
studies physics.
I would differentiate it from the way I view things. It's just if something is different enough, right? Because obviously a cat isn't a dog. You know, a cat.
This is the future.
Has claws that are retractable. You know, a cat can jump 10 feet in the air. You know, a small poodle can't do that. That's kind of where I would draw the line between species, if that, you know.
That made no sense, but okay, sure. That rambling bullshit answer you just gave. Sure, there are differences between animals. Wow. Wow. Thank you.
Okay. Pick up what I'm putting down.
Okay.
That falls in line with the general scientific definition. Just means two organisms that can procreate and create viable offspring. That's the general definition.
There's an answer that didn't require all this rambling.
So if, let's say we had a species differentiation among the human population where Jews were no longer human. Jews were not able to breed with black people or white people or Asians and create viable offspring. So by definition, they wouldn't be part of the species. And you had some of these Jews that were mentally disabled and had no moral agency. You'd be fine with killing them and turning them into hamburgers?
Me personally, no.
Okay, well, that's a contradiction.
Me personally, no.
How is that a contradiction?
I asked you to name the trait that's lacking in animals that if lacking in a human being would justify killing and eating the human being. You mentioned moral agency and species. And I just gave you a hypothetical that would fulfill those two criteria. And then you said, no, I wouldn't be willing to kill them. So that's a contradiction.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I'm not willing to really kill anyone. So that's kind of,
yes,
I still think they're close enough. I would still think that they're close enough to a human.
So now you're saying close. So now it's not species. It's just looking like a human being.
No, I imagine that their brain chemistry would be pretty equivalent. Do they still have the same cognitive ability that we do?
Well, again, that would be disqualified in the trait you mentioned, moral agency.
I kind of see what you mean. Not gonna lie, hadn't thought about this. So
yeah, you don't say. You don't say. You hadn't thought about that before you made some video about vegans being unhealthy. Like maybe you should have looked into that a little bit before you just shat out a video.
I'm going to go ahead and just kind of leave it as is because I do not have a good counter argument to that because.
So we're done, right? 13 minutes in. Okay. 13 minutes. So what happens now?
I really haven't thought that deep about this sort of thing because it's just a situation that just would never, it doesn't exist in nature. I mean,
unless. A reminder, guys, this guy who hasn't thought about this very much, 7 months ago, created this. The Omnivore King. I make content about annoying vegan activists that we all can't stand. Look how triggered he is. This is consistent. Look, 3 hours ago, he put out a video about vegan teacher. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Jesus Christ, y'all. 41, 42. There's vegan gains, by the way. 43. He accuses vegan gains of killing his cat. Well done. 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65. In 7 months, this guy has made 65 videos about that vegan teacher. And as you probably noticed, the rest of them were largely about Tash. So he's got a boner for Tash and vegan teacher. And guys, this is without question. I'm messaging David Rams to make sure he knows that we don't even need to have a vote this year. This is Meat Flake of the Year. I'm going to let him know. Meat Flake of the Year is settled. Anticlimactic year. There is no contest. I have never seen someone this obsessed. And like I said, I think it all spirals from this moment. I could be wrong, but I did some investigating. And yeah, 60 fucking 5 videos about that vegan teacher. Imagine having someone live that rent-free in your head. My God. Steve, does it happen to you too? Jesus Christ. Oh, get this guy some help.
Like, you want to go back to like when Neanderthals were running around, they were technically a different species, even though we could breed with them. Like, there's people, I mean, most of us.
Well, they wouldn't have been a different species. If we can interbreed, they wouldn't be a different species.
Neanderthals but they weren't. Well, the thing is, mules and horses, or not mules and horses, donkeys and horses can breed, but they produce sterile offspring.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with the Neanderthals and the Homo sapiens, which is what we are.
No. As far as the current scientific evidence suggests, Neanderthals were able to successfully interbreed with Homo sapiens and create viable offspring. That's why you can still find Neanderthal DNA in human beings today. So by definition, they'd be the same species. They'd just be a different subset of species, kind of like how there's Canis familiaris, Canis lupus, it's Canis lupus familiaris right now, and Canis lupus. They're the same species, but we do make a differentiation between wolves and domestic dogs, even though they are the same species.
Okay, that's fair. I just don't see how a different species that somehow diverges from humans that are basically identical to us, like I feel like that would still kind of fall under that same Neanderthal versus Homo sapiens. Unless I'm just not understanding you exactly.
Well, it wouldn't, because there's species differentiation. Again, the definition of species we agreed upon was Jews, species differentiated from the rest of humanity. They wouldn't be able to breed with human beings and have successful offspring. So by definition, they'd be a different species.
Well, here's the thing. I think I should probably clarify my position just a little bit more, because I'm not really for, like I told you, I was vegetarian for a while myself, and I'm not really for eating animals.
We speculated yesterday as to what happened to cause all this. I mean, I think we're seeing the main catalyst was this debate. We speculated, was he dumped by a vegan? What happened? So now we learn he was a vegetarian for a little while, half-assing it. Please, go on. You're against eating animals. Go on.
Above a certain threshold.
Above a certain threshold. Okay.
Cognitive ability myself. So I don't, like, personally, I don't think it's necessarily right to kill pigs or dolphins or whatever, personally. But
wait, pigs and dolphins. So now the trait is intelligence. So I'm sure Richard is going to go through intelligence now.
I, at the same time, would not be upset at somebody else for doing that. So if people decided, well, they're a different species than us, right? They're basically aliens. That's how I'm going to think of it. They're basically aliens. And for some reason, they're a threat to us in any way, shape, or form. And they decide, I'm going to kill these people. I'm not going to be mad at them for doing that. But
no one cares who you're mad at, dude.
I personally would never engage in something like that, just for my own personal beliefs.
Well, the proposition I made was that animals should have the same rights as human beings. So what you just said suggested that you're not in favor of animals having the same rights as human beings.
What's up, Nilf? How are you? It is. I know, Nilf, I was surprised when I didn't see you before. Oh, yeah. No, sorry. When we were watching the debate yesterday, it was one of his fans. This guy has fans. Yeah. We got someone also triggered in the chat right now. It's an epidemic, guys. Get that cream out, Nilf. We're going to provide it. Okay, hang on. I've got it pulled up. Don't you worry. I always keep it pulled up for emergencies in case. Okay, I've always got it here in case we need it. Let me try to go ahead and pull it up. I would say this is probably an emergency. So let's image file. Desktop. There it is. In case you need it, Steve, contact Nilf. Nilf has a full supply. How much are you charging for that stuff, Nilf? How much does it cost? Probably like $14.99, I'm guessing. Probably $14.99, right, Nilf? So, listen, Steve, meet Nilf. Nilf, meet Steve. You guys get together. Do that.
So that is kind of
I think. Well, I think it depends, because I think that, for instance, domestic animals, I feel like the human rights are pretty much expanded to them kind of by proxy. Yeah. And I think that's perfectly fine. I just think as a wild animal, because you can, the thing is, a human.
1999? 1995. Sorry. No, it's better. That's better. 1995. That's way better. You can afford that, Steve.
That has a pet, an animal in their family, can invoke those rights on the behalf of the animal, whereas an animal can't do that. They're incapable of doing so. A wild animal is incapable of doing so. So if a wild animal has human rights, then they would also have to uphold human laws. So if they committed what you would probably consider to be atrocities by killing other animals, then they would also have to face the same consequences as a human would. But the problem, though, is that animals can't enforce that on themselves, and they don't have the cognitive ability to even know that what they're doing is an issue that they're breaking.
Neither can a lot of society.
The thing is, they get their rights taken away from them, because if somebody who's schizophrenic, like you were mentioning before, is like, I'm going to kill this person because the fucking voices in my head told me to, they get their rights taken away from them, which makes sense. That's totally reasonable in my opinion. And I still think that there's still a slight difference from people that are just disabled versus somebody actually having the mind and the brain of an animal, because just imagine a person that has the brain of a tiger and their instinct is kill, kill, kill because I need to eat. Like,
that's your instinct. That's what you're appealing to. I don't understand how it doesn't get through. That's the argument you're making.
Yeah,
that's still very, very different.
You say that, but you're far more likely to get killed by another human being than from an animal. Human beings are ideologically motivated. You can have radical Muslims that want to kill anybody who's non-Muslim. You can have gangs that will kill either members of opposing gangs, or in some cases, they will just kill anybody who opposes them. Anybody who's, say, a political dissenter, like the cartel. You'll have people who will kill, rape you just for fun because they're psychopaths. So it's funny how you say animals lack moral agency and they will just tear you to shreds. Well, for one thing,
Steve, I thought we helped you already. Get with NILF, get that cream, and you'll be good. Relax, buddy. Relax. Okay? Relax. We already found you a solution. Okay? 1995.
It's not true of the animals you eat: chickens, cows, pigs.
Relax. And please leave a tip.
You name it, they're not particularly violent animals, and cows in particular are not carnivorous. They just eat grass. So if you're going to say it's morally acceptable to kill cows because they'd kill and eat you, that doesn't really make any sense. And human beings are far more dangerous than any animal. Human beings are more dangerous to you and me than any animal. So that doesn't make sense to me. But
to be fair, that's kind of skewed just because of the fact that you interact with infinitely more humans than you do bears or tigers or alligators. So, and also we evolved intelligence. Like, we know to stay away from the fucking alligator that might rip your arm off, you know? So I feel like that's a little bit skewed, because if I went to the grocery store and it was filled with tigers, I wouldn't last 0.1 seconds in there. Whereas if I go to the grocery store and it's filled with humans, I'm going to get my groceries and go home 99.99% of the time. That's the major difference.
Yeah, well, if you swim in the wrong lake, a crocodile might bite you, drag you under to eat you. But if you go to the wrong side of town, the cartel will kidnap you and slowly peel your skin off. So again, I don't see how you can make a claim that animals are savages, but humans aren't.
But the thing is, we're not interacting with animals either way. Like, we could, those hypothetical situations we could do, but it's the fact of the matter is we're not doing those things. Which is why we're not getting killed by alligators, not getting killed by tigers. I mean, there's people, I watched a documentary about like the Nile River and obviously the Nile crocodile, and those crocodiles have killed so many people. It's pretty incredible. And I know what you're going to say, so of like humans and these gangs and stuff, which is true. And the reason though that these crocodiles have put up so many bodies because the people needed to go to those rivers to get water. It was
and
like
I'm in favor of killing those crocodiles.
You see, I'm not, because I wouldn't be mad at the crocodile, because even if it snatched my fiance and killed my fiance, I'm not going to be mad at the crocodile, because that crocodile was doing what its instincts told him to do. They had no moral ability whatsoever to decide, hey, this is wrong. You know, Kalen's going to be fucking sad because his
neither do psychopaths, neither do mentally disabled people, neither do, people with severe mental illness.
Well, the thing is,
but again, let's just bring things back. Do you think violence should be justified? Like, if you're ever going to hurt somebody, it should have some sort of justification?
Yes, it should have some justification. Yes.
Okay, well, when I asked you about what trait that or set of traits animals are lacking that justifies violence being committed against them, and then you admitted this led to a contradiction and you haven't really thought about it well, you'd have to admit that none of the violence you're committing against animals is justified if you have no logical basis for committing this violence.
I'm sure you've probably heard this argument a million times before, that I firmly believe that.
Yeah, I bet he has.
That humans, and most of science also agrees that humans are meant to be omnivorous, and because of that, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Could you clarify, please?
So when you say humans are meant to be something, that suggests some sort of moral imperative for humans to be omnivorous. So
I don't think it's moral. I think it's biological, because we have the indications that
when you use a term like meant to, that assumes you're making some sort of moral claims or some sort of moral claim that humans are supposed to or should eat meat.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that, because I could say the same thing about a tiger is meant to eat meat, which is...
Steve, you okay, buddy? Steve. I've tried to help you, Steve. I've tried. I give it my best shot. Just relax, my friend.
There's just inherently the truth, because
it depends on what you mean by meant. So when you,
I mean, like designed to, like if you want to be very like specific, I mean designed to, like not meant. I guess it's just a choice word situation, but I mean like designed to. Like, our biology suggests that is what the body is. I'm trying to avoid saying meant or supposed to, but I don't know. I just can't pick the words I'm picking here are not are not the ones that are working here.
So we're talking about ethics right now, and whether or not there's any kind of ethical justification to eat meat. And when you mention something like biology, that's just a descriptive claim that we are designed by evolution to consume animal products. If you're just going to make a number of descriptive propositions, that doesn't lead to any sort of moral claim. So if you're going to say humans evolved to eat meat, therefore we should eat meat, that's a non sequitur. That's an is-ought-gap problem. It doesn't logically lead to that conclusion.
Oh, I understand that. I totally follow. And I just want to clarify again that my position isn't that of every typical person that does eat meat, because I think ethics, the problem with ethics is that it's very subjective. I don't think there's any like definitive way to decline, or I'm sorry, what do you mean? What are you
ethics
saying exactly?
Are subjective. I agree with you.
Yeah, and so, and I think because it varies person to person. Like for me, a good example I like to say is I don't like the fact that people in certain countries eat dogs, but at the same time.
So you're just a raging hypocrite.
I understand that may be their primary source of food, what's readily available, because there's dogs all over the street.
I'm sorry. You think that in China, dogs are their primary source of food? Or Korea or Vietnam? That's what you think.
And they don't have what we in America consider to be animals that should be allowed to be eaten. Because even then, I don't agree with some of them, right? I don't agree that, we eat pigs because they are really intelligent.
Well, okay, I'm really curious if this guy understands like how much pork is consumed in China versus how much dog meat is consumed in China. It's off the charts, dude. You should have learned the topic before you made a video. That's the problem. That is the problem. And then you agreed to debate one of the best vegan debaters. And it led you to making a whole channel. I mean, that's what really blows my mind. And that's why we're revisiting this, is because you didn't reflect. You made a whole channel to cope. Oh, man.
What if I told you this? There is a human meat trade, particularly in Uganda. It's a big problem. Well, what if I told you that may be one of the only food sources for some people? Would you be okay with killing and eating humans?
Me doing it? Again, no.
Would you be okay with somebody else doing it?
I'd have to be, because I'm not in their situation. Because if as far as I know,
so you don't agree with the idea of human rights?
I don't understand how you got to that conclusion.
So if you're claiming it's okay for somebody to kill and eat a human being, you're claiming that you don't agree with
yes.
So you don't agree with the concept of human rights.
But the thing is, but the human rights are not inherent. You can lose them. You can lose human rights if
you're hungry, you can kill somebody.
Not necessarily, no. That if the circumstances are your survival, and that's the only way, and it's, for instance, like when those people, I forgot, it was like a mountain or something. I don't remember the story exactly. There's some people that got stranded in like a mountain, and they were all starving to death, and they had to pretty much eat each other to survive. I think that's fine, because unfortunately, those human rights don't reach them anymore, because the situations, the circumstances have changed so drastically.
I think he's thinking about, there were like these settlers that came to America and started eating each other. They were like on this long trek, and they just started eating each other because they fucked around and came to America. And this is, back when, never mind. Oh my God, he's still going, guys. Someone help Steve, please. Can someone help him out? Is he okay? Is he okay? I know half of y'all can't see him because he's on mobile, but some of you guys are also on mobile. By the way, guys, if you don't know, there's two streams. So if you're on your laptop and you're watching this in vertical and it's annoying, switch over to the horizontal. There's a horizontal and a vertical. So just letting you know. That's the new update with StreamYard.
That you can't apply that to their situation. It's become an isolated incident. Whereas even if you're not within a country boundary, there's places that are a part of no country. You could kill someone there and not get in trouble for it because the human rights do not exist there. So I think human rights are something that can change, like depending on the circumstances.
So let me just ask you this. Let's say you're stranded on some sort of mountaintop. There's goats that are jumping around. You can either kill and eat them, or you can kill and eat other human beings. Would it be morally justified to choose to kill and eat the human beings rather than the goats?
No, because you have a different food source. Because the goats can be used as a food source, whereas
the
humans, yes, but in this situation, human rights still apply. There is no circumstance. It's not a dire circumstance where eating a human is the only option for you to survive.
Okay, so can you name, like, again, we've gone through this. The traits you named were moral agency and being human. So, and again, this led to a contradiction where you admitted you wouldn't be comfortable with taking away rights from a species that is mentally disabled and not a part of the human race. So, how do you justify killing these animals rather than any humans?
I think I stated the whole, I think cannibalism is I think cannibalism and taking out your own species is very much against nature. So it's
against nature. Right. Okay. How about just not doing any of that then?
Again, this is something that's somewhat subjective.
So for one thing, I don't know how you can claim it's against nature. Plenty of tribal people have practiced cannibalism. Because there have been civil wars that have occurred recently where cannibalism was widely practiced. It's a natural thing. Other animals practice cannibalism. You see this especially in the insect kingdom, but you'll see wolves, sometimes lions.
I mean, this word natural, it's just like, what do you even mean? Because you could argue that anything we do is natural. It's just hardwired into us, so it's natural, right? It's just a stupid argument.
Well, they'll eat their own. Cannibalism is very natural. And on top of that, even if you're going to say it's not natural, that's a descriptive claim. That's not a moral claim.
It's more so that a species' best interest is the survival of their own species, as I mentioned before. So by choosing to kill the human versus the animal is not choosing the survival of your own species, which I think is the important thing. And I think that's the important thing for all of nature. So even if a lion decides to eat a baby or whatever it is, it's because obviously that lion is starving and it's in their best interest and their species' best interest for them to continue to live. So that's what I think is naturally happening.
Well,
versus
none of this matters because we named the trait, or you named the traits. You said it is moral agency and being part of the species human. And you said you wouldn't be willing to kill an organism that is not human and mentally disabled. So exactly how do you justify killing and eating animals? How would you justify not granting human rights to animals?
Well, I think the problem is it's what you're saying is too general because you keep saying me, right? Whereas again, I've made my stance pretty clear about where I draw the line at kind of where what you can effectively use as food, or this human that or non-human that you're talking about. It's hard to say again how I because this is just not something I've thought about.
It's just the psychology of this to me is very fascinating, that you would make a video about a subject that you hadn't thought about and then agree to debate the subject that you hadn't thought about. And by the way, you agreed to debate vegan gains. There's a billion debates online with vegan gains that you could have watched in preparation for speaking with him. I made this joke at the beginning that I had done this deep investigation where I looked at his channel to look at the dates of when he started his vegan activism cope page as it relates to the timeline of this debate coming out. And I mean, that's sort of like the amount of research or prep that you could have done in preparing to debate Vegan Gains, who is not a small YouTuber. This isn't like you just had some random person where you had nothing to like look at. You have like a trove of previous debates that you could have skimmed and been like, oh, he brings up this argument and this argument, so I'll be prepared for this and that. The psychology of this baffles me. And then to take this experience and then go on to make this Cope page that's where it really gets interesting. One day, they'll study humans like this.
Because again, like you make a good point.
Well, again, if right? I told you, you know, I really like killing and eating black people. Like there's something about their flesh that just tastes really good. And then you asked me, like, oh, well, they're human though. Like, wouldn't that be wrong to kill a human being? And then I said, you know, I haven't really thought about it, but you know, maybe I'll just consider this later and keep killing and eating black people. Like,
I don't know how this you would reach.
You would think like that's just stupid.
Yeah, no, it's not. He's talking about the arbitrary line that you draw.
Nonsense, hypocritical. Like that's exactly what you're doing. I asked you what traits that animals are lacking that makes it so that we wouldn't grant them human rights. You named moral agency and being a human, and I proposed a hypothetical where you wouldn't be comfortable killing a species that wasn't human and didn't have moral agency.
He also named intelligence, which I feel like they should dive into a little bit, because I think there's a clear differential in his intelligence and Richard's intelligence, such that it might make it so that that circuit breaker falls after this guy and somewhere before Richard. I mean, I don't know. Like maybe Richard's hungry.
So this is a contradiction, yet you still try to justify taking away rights from animals.
Well, I think what you glossed over though is also me saying that animals don't have the ability to uphold those rights, so they simply can't have them. They don't have the ability to interpret. That's not just moral agency though. That's also just logic as well, because it's also biology. It's
what up, Louie?
More than just a morality. It's a physical inability to do so because their brains simply aren't structured the same way ours are. They don't have that level of consciousness.
We could just only include mentally disabled people in that equation.
Sorry, let me catch up on the chat. I see Steve is still at it. He is very, very triggered. Congratulations, Steve. A vegan YouTube live stream has triggered you. What's up, Vegan Anthem? Hyperlink, how you doing? Sabby is here. What's up, Sabby? Honest Doubter, nice to see you. Jake is here. Jayesh is here. What's up, Jayesh? Vegan Anthem. If I missed anybody, I apologize. Try to stay up on that a little better. What's up, Felix? Felix is here. My boy Felix.
Well, I mean, if you're adequately mentally ill, that would also
qualify. Guys, hit that like and subscribe. Please do that for me. All right. I don't ask you for much, but I do ask for that.
Qualify.
What level of mental disability? Like, are
they
again
like I don't know, a cow, chicken, pig, you name it. Like pretty much any animal from the animal kingdom.
But you're talking about a human though being mentally disabled as well. Yeah. Like, are you saying at that level?
Yeah.
Like, but they also have to have.
So again, their intelligence is trait equalized.
But you can be grossly unintelligent, but it doesn't mean that your brain is equivalent to a cow's. So that means they would also have to have that animal's instincts, for instance. Like they're literally eating dirt and stuff, or they're eating grass and things. Yeah, actually, yes.
So you mentioned
grant him that. That's fine. Say there's a human eating dirt. Okay to kill them?
And moral agency and the ability to like be able to cognitively interpret like certain moral issues. So if we were to just equate their intelligence, that's all we would need to do.
No, because it's more than, like I'm saying, it's more than intelligence. It's also behavior and instinct, because that's one, I think it's one fundamental difference between humans and animals. I already said before.
Well, you can look at human tribal societies. They're the most violent societies on the planet. Before the Europeans came to North America, Native Americans were killing each other at a massive rate. I believe the statistic is 34% of all adult deaths were due to war. So like clubs axes, spears being shoved into their chest. So humans seem to have very violent instincts. And I mean, you can see this today. Look at how many wars are going on. Look at how many genocides have occurred. Look at Nazi Germany. You've had many cultures that have tried to exterminate other cultures. Look at all of our sports. Our most popular sports are violent sports. Boxing, football, MMA. Look at all the video games and movies we like to watch, like Terminator and shit. Like it all deals with violence and killing. This is clearly on our mind. You can see in most cultures throughout history, violence is a common phenomena. So again, like, and if we're going to justify killing a cow, what kind of violent instincts do cows have exactly? Like maybe male bulls are a little protective, but I don't see cows lunging at people's throats.
But I think that it's what you said is solid, but I think the difference is the ability to not act on the instincts. That's what humans have that animals don't. So,
but you're acting on them right now. So you have the ability to not be violent towards animals. You have that ability. You're not acting on that ability. And you're still somehow trying to justify it, even though we're like, how far into this? 35 minutes in? The number of times that you have conceded to Richard during this debate and just admitted flat out that he has a better argument than you and that you have none. You have no argument, that you have not thought about this topic. We're 35 minutes in. It's happened like 4 or 5 times. Damn, usually it takes like by the end of a debate before someone concedes. You've already conceded. It happened, I think, at 13 minutes in, because at 13 minutes in, he said, I'm just going to leave this because I don't really have an argument. And I said, cool. All right, well, why do we have a 2 hour and 5 minute debate then? Because you've just conceded the debate at 13 minutes. Unless we get into health. Sure, get into health. Let's do that. But you already conceded the ethical points.
Well, wild animals. Obviously, you domesticate a dog and you put out food. You can train them to not do it. You can train them to not act on theirs. But a wild animal is never going to do that. I think that is the difference.
So we could add that to the list of traits. But on top of that, there are many human beings. I would say actually most people can't control their instinctive behaviors. That's why obesity is such a common phenomenon.
Good point.
People will tell you, I don't want to be fat. I want to eat less food, but I can't. What does that tell you? Human beings generally lack the ability to control some of their, biologically driven desires. You'll look at people who get into bar fights or stab or shoot somebody. They'll tell you, I literally had no control of my actions. I got so angry that I just burst out and pulled out my gun, shot somebody. Or I just beat the crap out of somebody because I couldn't control myself. Ask anybody who's in prison for a violent crime. They'll tell you, I don't know why I did it. I just went fucking ballistic and I just did it. So I don't see that as a unique feature unique quality of animals, that they can't control some of their instincts or desires. Human beings lack that ability. Many of us, in certain cases, we lack the ability to control our violent tendencies.
I know this is a very small example, but I think it's very interesting that dogs control their violence all the time when they play, because they're using their teeth. These tools meant for tearing, they use their teeth and they bite down softly because they can control their urges to be violent. They do that to other dogs. Every now and then I'll watch this little dog who's about that big. Little guy, that big. Plays with dogs that big. Never gets hurt. Because the dogs that are that big know to be gentle. And that dog knows to be gentle. And when we play around, that dog will like bite me in a gentle way. I just don't. And like this guy probably knows that. He understands those things.
And in much more common cases, we lack the ability to do things like control our food intake. And on top of that, again, we can just add this to the list of traits. So I don't know if you'd consider that something like executive function. But again, if there was, if Jews species differentiated, so they were no longer part of the human species, and there were mental...
What's up, Brian? Brian, this is a year old. And the reason we're looking at this is because yesterday, reacting to Vegan Gaze's stream, or videos about this guy, I had to just see the genesis of how we got from this point to this point. And I don't think I've watched this debate. I may have, you know, like I've watched a lot of Richard's debates, but this may have been one that I listened to like 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, he's conceding already. But this guy went on to make this channel, and you can go back. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's deleted videos. Who knows? First one, according to his page, is 7 months ago. This debate was a year ago. He's made, by the way, 65. I counted 65. I'm sure I missed a few. 65 videos about that vegan teacher. And you can see most of the rest of them are about Tash. And now he's going after Militant Vegan. And this is his channel. I make content about annoying vegan activists that we all can't stand. This is the meat flake of the year. He got so triggered by this debate. I can only assume that's the only data point I have. I did a deep dive, guys. I looked at both videos. I looked at that video, saw the timeline, and then I looked at the first video of this channel 7 months ago. It's pretty conclusive, I would say. So yeah, this guy got so destroyed by Richard that instead of reflecting on it and being like, yeah, maybe I'm stupid, he just doubled down and made a channel called The Omni King, which Vegan Gaze was reacting to last week or so. And Elle would like to have a debate with the guy. And I think he should take her up on it and debate Elle. He should do that. I mean, his fanboy was brave enough, not smart enough, brave enough to debate Elle. That was an impressive display of childish tendencies. But yeah, what about you? What about you? So yeah, I think I was just curious. And I like a good excuse to watch a Richard debate. It's kind of like, you know, there's something about it that it's like a guilty pleasure, because it's like Richard said, we have these tendencies to like to watch like sports and stuff. And this is kind of like watching sports, because we're watching someone get destroyed. And it is good entertainment. It's good entertainment value for me.
Disabled Jews that had the same relative cognitive.
Let me back it up.
And much more instincts or desires. Human beings lack that ability. Many of us, in certain cases, we lack the ability to control our violent tendencies. And in much more common cases, we lack the ability to do things like control our food intake. And on top of that, again, we can just add this to the list of traits. So I don't know if you'd consider that something like executive function. But again, if there was, if Jews species differentiated, so they were no longer part of the human species, and there were mentally disabled Jews that had the same relative cognitive capacity as, say, a cow, and they lacked moral agency, and they lacked the ability to control their instincts, would you be okay with killing them?
Me again, I'm sorry, I have to keep saying the me personally thing, just to be very clear.
Well, any ethical debate, like I'm debating you, so this is obviously going to be your personal opinion. I
have to preface it because it's me personally. Again, no, because I'm not really big on killing anything. But
that would be a contradiction.
But if somebody else did it, and these were the circumstances, everything you just listed, that person that you're talking about, not human. Not human enough.
So the proposition,
you would basically put them in the animal category, and so therefore, if they do it, then I would consider it the same thing.
Okay, so a few things to point out. The proposition was granting human rights to animals. So this would be your position on whether or not you would want to grant non-human animals human rights. So if you're going to say I wouldn't personally do it, but I would allow somebody else to do it, that's just evading the question. Would you or would you not
being very
be in
clear
favor
about my position?
No, would you or would you not be in favor of granting human rights to animals? So
No.
I just proposed the hypothetical. Okay, well then it's a like if you wouldn't personally do it, but you're saying you wouldn't grant human rights to animals on that basis, then you would be okay with other people going after Jews who are no longer human, who are mentally disabled, and killing them. You'd be fine if we had a meat industry of killing mentally disabled Jews and, you know, turning them into hamburgers. You wouldn't do it personally, but you'd be fine if other people partook in it.
Hold on.
I feel like we've, I feel like we're going in circles at this point, and
no,
I feel, do we think that
we're almost done. This is only going to maybe take another 5 minutes.
I kind of agree with Coco because
do you think there's other angles about veganism versus like an omnivore diet that we could discuss though? So far, it's been
well, we're almost done with this topic. We can move on to like the health related stuff. But again, if you're saying you wouldn't personally do it, but you wouldn't be in favor of invoking human rights for animals, then you wouldn't do anything like protest in order to get people to stop killing mentally disabled Jews and turning them into hamburgers.
You're saying I wouldn't do anything to protest it. But the thing is, what you're describing, it isn't human. It doesn't have the human characteristics.
That's fine,
so,
but I'm just asking you the question. So non-human Jews who are mentally disabled, you'd be fine with
more than just mentally disabled. You said basically pretty much has none of the
lacking in moral agency and
is basically an animal that acts on animal instincts that would go outside and just kill a person to eat them because they're acting on animal instincts. I don't consider that person human, and I would think that person in quotations would be a menace to society and would have to be routed. Yeah.
Whoa. Wow. Okay. Wow. He took it there. A menace to society and would need to be routed.
Absolutely.
Okay, but we're so
a menace to society like if you put by the way doesn't cause any harm because we're trade equalizing cows, chickens, pigs, harmless animals. Okay, they cause no harm.
Put some extra hair on them and basically call them a werewolf. Like a werewolf.
By the way,
is like
most animals that we kill who are that are domesticated, they're non-violent, like they're not a threat. So we're just talking about maybe a disabled person who would shit their pants and can't think to like walk to the toilet.
Then what would be the reason?
Well, that's a good question. What would be the reason to kill an innocent animal?
For your nourishment and for your survival.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so do that. Yeah, you're saying you could do that for them, is what you're saying.
And you could kill a mentally disabled Jew. They have vitamin B12 and all the nutrition you need.
In this hypothetical, who isn't a human, is what you're saying, who isn't human.
Yeah, true.
Then if somebody else, again, I wouldn't, but if somebody else did, I wouldn't be upset at them because what you described is not human.
He keeps on placing value on like his judgment of other people. We don't care. This is telling, actually. This probably explains why he is so unbelievably butthurt that he created a channel. He just feels judged, guys. He feels judged. Like, I don't care when someone judges me. Like, who gives a shit? Like, maybe someone close to me, I care. But some rando that I've never met judging me, who gives a shit? Grow some thicker skin. I don't know. Thin skin, maybe. I don't know.
And if they're far enough to be not considered human for whatever reason, and I mean, again, unless you want to say it's close enough that it's basically cannibalism, then I still disagree because I don't agree with cannibalism. So but if they're far enough from being human that it's not considered cannibalism, then you can categorize them as animals. They have animal instincts
because they're different species.
Jake, I think you were here when I counted, right? Jake said his main channel is full of vegan teacher. Oh, wait. Oh, no, you're saying the other channel is too. So he hasn't just made 65 videos about that vegan teacher. He's made more than 65. Can you imagine being that butthurt? My God, that obsessed. Oh, man. I'm going to tell you, when this video is done, I'm not making more videos about this guy. It's fine. I'm not making one video. I'm doing a live stream. 0 effort. Just throw it on and I'll go live. No effort. Dude, yeah, that's amazing. That is amazing that you could be that triggered. I can't think of anybody that I would make 3 videos about, much less 65 plus. Oh God. Man. You know what? She's pretty accessible. Why don't you message her and set up a debate?
Then yes, that is my position. Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Let's move on to some of the health stuff. Let's start with the video you
that
made.
Was a demolishing. I can see, and by the way, like, so Richard's good at the ethics. He is fucking unbeatable when it comes to health. I'm sorry. I have never seen someone who has read like all these. He knows this stuff like the back of his hand. This is, I mean, if we thought that the first 42 minutes was going to be rough for this guy, which it was. Oh man, the remaining hour and 20 minutes,
which was littered with complete nonsense. So, might be worth it to actually share the screen here, so we can just go through this on stream, so everybody has context.
I should say, when I say like Richard's unbeatable at that, I'm not an expert. So, I mean, I should preface it with that and say I have no special expertise on this when it comes to health. I also don't think you need much.
Yeah.
I will screen share. There we go, and share sound. Wait, do you guys? I don't know why it does this. Okay, do you guys see the screen? Anyway,
yeah, I can see it just fine.
Okay, cool.
We lost a lot of weight very quickly upon.
So to give context, you were showing Blair White in this video claiming she became nutrient deficient and everything on a vegan diet. So we'll just watch the clip and then I'll give my 2 cents on it.
I'm going vegan. Okay. Once I cut out cheese.
I mean, look. This is a video called Vegans Aren't Healthy. And the guy has already admitted he's not thought about this. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He doesn't know this subject. And he just shat this video out for clicks. That is just like unbelievably pathetic.
Especially, I felt like my weight just dropped, which was great for me at the time, but I went a little too far and I got a little skinny, as you can see in this picture. Now, things were great in the first few years of being vegan. I felt like I had more energy. I felt healthier. I felt like I looked better and things were great. However, but once I got a little farther into veganism, I realized that my health was actually declining a little bit. I started getting extremely, extremely pale, which I'm naturally pale and I'm spray tanned right now, but I'm talking like so pale you could see every vein in my body. And it was pretty gross. I started getting extremely...
Well, I heard yesterday that someone's leg swelled up when they went vegan. So, I mean, this is pretty irrefutable, guys. So Blair White got really pale, obviously didn't get much sunlight, but really pale, and someone's legs swelled up. So yeah, veganism just it's not healthy.
Lethargic. And when I say lethargic, I mean, there were times where I would tell my boyfriend, you know, I can't get out of bed. It's not even the matter of, I don't want to get out of bed. I'm not even being lazy. It's like, I can't get out of bed. I have no energy to even move my body off of this bed. There's also times where if I was getting out of bed or standing up after sitting down for not even that long amount of time, I would feel like I was going to faint. Everything would get fuzzy. My body would go really weak and I'd have to sit back down because for some reason I didn't even have the energy or the strength to get myself up. I almost passed out. I'm a young, you know, in shape, supposedly eating healthy, but I'm about to faint from just sitting down in the chair for 5 minutes. And hopefully it's not TMI, but I also started getting really bad digestive issues. So we all know I have reproductive issues, honey, but it was digestive issues. I would get extremely bad stomach aches from almost everything I ate. I could eat some watermelon, which is, you know, almost entirely water, and I would get stomach pains, and it was almost like my body couldn't process like any amount of food. It was really, really scary. And so after about 6 months of the digestive issues, the looking freakishly pale, the passing out nearly when I'm standing up out of bed or off a chair, lethargic, depression, I started saying, okay, something is wrong, something's out of balance, something's out of whack, and I have to look into it. So what I did was I went to a doctor and I got all my levels checked, and basically, lo and behold.
Listen to the music, by the way.
behold, there were several things that were extremely deficient. And keep in mind, in being vegan, I actually ate, in my mind, very, very healthy. I ate almost all fruits and vegetables. I ate a variety of fruits and vegetables, lots of.
Okay. So, okay. She ate herself into a deficiency and was primarily or only eating fruits and vegetables, according to her. Newsflash to the trolls in my comments section. Vegans don't just eat fruits and vegetables. And if that's all you eat, you might be in trouble. And that's not all vegans eat. So, I mean, she says, in my mind, I was eating very healthy. Well, apparently you weren't, because you were deficient in nutrients. Now, what you should have done is, if you were having struggles, I'm deficient in, let's say, vitamin D, because you said you were pale, right? You said you were really pale, which indicates that you don't get much sunlight. Sun, where you get vitamin D from. Yeah, so what you should have done is maybe I should get off my ass, get out of my apartment and go outside a little bit. And then, maybe take a vitamin D tablet. Call me crazy. I mean, I know that just sounds insane. Or, use that thing what is it? What's it called? Google. That thing called Google and just looked up, okay, here's the nutrients that I'm deficient in. What vegan foods have those nutrients? That would have been too hard, I guess.
Beans, nuts, rice, all that type of stuff. So it's not like I was just eating junk food or something. But lo and behold, upon going to a doctor, I was deficient in so many things. In particular, B12,
Let me correct myself. She said she ate more than fruits and vegetables. I apologize.
In my mind, very, very things that were extremely deficient. And keep in mind, in being vegan, I actually ate, in my mind, very, very healthy. I ate almost all fruits and vegetables. I ate a variety of fruits and vegetables, lots of beans, nuts, rice, all that type of stuff. So
y'all heard that, right? Okay. It's not just me. Okay. She wasn't just eating fruits and vegetables. Okay. She doesn't know what fruits and vegetables are, but she wasn't just eating fruits and... Okay.
It's not like I was just eating junk food or something. But lo and behold, upon going to a doctor, I was deficient in so many things. In particular, B12, I was disastrously deficient.
So you were low in B12, so you didn't know to take B12, the main nutrient? Jesus Christ. I don't know how some people put their clothes on in the morning. And it sounds like she didn't. According to her, she just laid in bed and just had no energy to get up. Apparently just needed mom and dad to feed her. Some people just can't handle adulthood.
And if you don't know, B12 is something that is not present in plant-based foods. So, being vegan, you're going to be B12 deficient unless you take supplements. So that was the first thing I was very deficient in. There were a few others, but the other big one was vitamin D. Now, he said I was the lowest in vitamin D that he had ever seen. Ever. And it's also widely known that vitamin D is not something that's easily found in plant-based foods. But a lot of vegans on YouTube will say that if you just go outside, there's vitamin D in sunlight, which is true. But
Hey, Steven. Vegan heretic, you're here, right? What's up? Okay, let me just make sure. Okay, Steven, I have a request. All right. You're probably not seeing this guy, Steve, commenting because you're on my horizontal stream, I think. On my vertical stream, which you can also find, there's this guy who's trying to use Jesus to justify eating animals. Maybe you could talk to him. Help this guy out. That's on the vertical stream. Yeah. He needs some help, Steven. He's all triggered right now. So Steven, go help Steve. Yep, it's a dual stream. It's not an L though, Honest Doubter, because it is reaching more people. It is reaching more people. I have to say. So that's better. But yeah, he needs a little help there, Steven. If you got the energy for that, you know, I know you're vegan. You're probably like barely able to get up right now. It does split the audience, Honest Doubter. I know it's a little, that's unfortunate, but you know, what can you do? This is sort of experimental. Yeah, but that's on the vertical live stream, Steven. Yeah, StreamYard has this new dual stream feature, which I'm trying out. And it seems to work. I mean, it's getting more views, but it does create this issue.
I'm outside in the sun all of the time. So I didn't really understand that. So basically
I'm sorry. She says that she was outside in the sun all the time and pale. So explain that to me. So are you getting sunburnt? I mean, what's happening?
You can very easily tell she was lying.
Yeah.
And the reason you can tell she was lying is because she made a number of contradictory claims. One of them, is it still sharing or is it done?
Yeah, I can still see it.
You can still see it? How do I turn that off? Give me a second. Oh, wait, no, that's not it. I don't know how to actually.
I don't use Zoom, so I'm probably no help.
Is there a middle share button in the middle of the screen? It should have changed to like a stop screen share.
Yeah, it's not giving me that. I was able to turn off the like screen share thing for me.
Do you see like the menu bar where it'll say like participants, chat, react, things like that?
React, chat, participants. None of that is doing anything. Give me a second. Did that turn it off?
I don't.
Oh,
okay, never mind.
Oh, that might work.
It's sharing this do multiple.
It's not. That's really odd.
Yeah, close the tab or with that. She was. Okay, I just closed the tab. I'll open it up later if I need to use it. So, Blair White claimed she had no energy. She was in bed all day, couldn't get out of bed, but at the same time, she was outside all the time.
Yeah, in the sun.
She was also extremely pale, but she was getting tons of sunlight.
Yeah.
Does any of that add up to you?
Yeah, that would be my question for Blair White. What was happening to you in the sun? I mean, were you going out into the sun, you know, like completely covered from head to toe? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think that I imagine the can't get out of bed and then being out in the sun probably weren't happening at the same time. So I don't think she ever implied that I can't get out of bed, but I'm also out. Like clearly these were like different times that could have been separated by months. Like, she didn't say like on this day these two things happened. It was more so like just recounting events that had happened that affected her.
Well, and then she didn't say I got pale and then I couldn't get out of bed and then it got better and then like the way she was describing this.
Yeah, but the thing is, the way people talk, I mean, it's just interpretation, obviously, but like that's the way I interpret it, and I guarantee you that's the way that probably most people interpreted it.
Yeah, because they didn't think critically the way that you should when you're seeing ridiculous claims being made that adhere to your preconceived biases.
Kobo, no bias, Kobo. How did you interpret it?
Well, I think it was clear that she was not practicing a healthy vegan diet, especially when she wasn't taking any vitals. Anytime I tell someone to go into the vegan diet, the first thing I tell them is like, take your vitals before and then take your vitals after, like do like the annual blood work. And the fact that she had been going on this vegan diet and wasn't taking B12 supplements or vitamin D supplements from the get-go is just like, yeah, of course you're going to you're going to struggle with that. That's like the first thing that people really should do. So that's for, my perspective, I was just like immediately like dismissing her take because it's like,
so
here,
not necessarily with vitamin D, by the way.
there's another example of someone not doing the vegan diet right.
So yeah, but the point is she's an unreliable narrator. She's claiming she couldn't get out of bed, but she's outside all day. How do those two things align? She's extremely pale, like sickeningly, weirdly pale, more pale than normal, but she's getting UV radiation constantly. Either she's going to develop a tan and not be so pale, or she's going to have horrific sunburns. None of these things add up. So
that's
like
not necessarily
you can
true,
can cope for the story and say, oh well, these different things happened at different times. Well, that's not what she said. So you're just making assumptions.
She was just, that's what you're doing as well, though. She was just listing things that she experienced. I could say that, like, when I first became diabetic, that I was going.
Yeah, see, the problem is, what's his name? I don't even know. The problem is Omni King, that when you're making these claims that could have damaging effects to people who are following you, you need to back them up and be very clear about what you're talking about. Blair White didn't do that, of course, because she was full of shit. And, you know, if someone like you would have just like stopped and used your brain for a minute, you would have also seen that. I mean, me as not a health expert was able to point out that exact same thing right on the spot. It just doesn't add up. And also what the moderator here said is like that's the whole point too. Like, so you're saying vegans aren't healthy, but your own video points to vegans aren't healthy when they don't eat healthy. Well, no shit. Just like your omnivore crew is not healthy when they don't eat healthy. So why don't you make that video? It wouldn't get clicks. That's why, right?
Into the bathroom a lot, but also I wasn't, because like there was a point where, you know, when I went after I went to the hospital and they fixed that issue, I wasn't going to the bathroom all the time. I could list those two things together. Not the best example, but just the first thing that came off the top of my head.
Well,
but
that's
you can list
completely unrelated to Blair White's situation. Look, that's unrelated to Blair White's situation because she didn't say, oh, my skin got better or my, like, you know, fatigue got better after I went to the doctor. She's saying, in the way she stated the story, all these things happened at the same time. She's an unreliable narrator, so why would you rely on her testimony? And by the way, I don't know if you were following the story when it was like breaking news when she claimed she's not vegan anymore. I was arguing with her, and she made a few follow-up videos that she later deleted. She ended up admitting that she went to the doctor, started taking a bunch of supplements and everything. She never got any follow-up blood work to see if her dietary changes on a vegan diet fix anything. So she just took a bunch of supplements, changed a bit of her diet to get more like iron, get more B12, vitamin D from everything. Didn't wait to actually see if that would have resolved the issue. Didn't get any follow-up blood work. And again, this is a person who said, well, I had to start eating meat for, you know, nutritional reasons. What do you think she started eating? Pepperoni pizza? Chicken wings? Like, this person's just completely and utterly full of shit, but then you share their story and act like, see, a vegan diet is bad for you. Like, does that make...
Look at Richard. I mean, like, dude.
Any sense to you?
I just want to clarify, because I feel like, just like with what she was saying about the listing things, I think the interpretation was lost here on two things. For one thing, the fact that just an example that I interpreted what she said as her listing things that happen at different times just shows that there is clearly something that can be interpreted differently here. Obviously, you interpret it differently, I interpret it differently. And I think you also...
So, do you think that maybe if you were going to make a video like that, you might want to make it responsibly? And then if you didn't, like, you might question that a little bit? So yeah, I think if you were going to make a video that could result in the deaths of thousands, hundreds of thousands, whatever, many more animals through your influence, that you might want to be pretty fucking clear about what you're talking about. And not just make some random, rambly, fucking turn the camera on and go video.
Interpreted what I was saying throughout this video incorrectly. I was never stating that you cannot be...
And let's be real, lie. We're granting her way too much. She lied.
be healthy on a vegan diet. And the people that I brought up, there's a contrast between all of them. Miley Cyrus talks about
hang on
how diet video incorrectly. I was never stating that you cannot be healthy on a vegan.
Your video was called Vegans Aren't Healthy. That's the title of your video. Let me hear that again.
Diet video incorrectly. I was never stating that you cannot be healthy on a vegan diet. And the people
okay. So maybe you should have changed the title, right?
People that I brought up, there's a contrast between all of them. Miley Cyrus talks about how she did supplement really well according to her dietitian. Blair, obviously, she was lacking things. She said, I had these
Miley
deficiencies.
Cyrus
So I'm showing that. She did say it in her video. She said that she was taking all types of supplements. She
bring it up. Let's watch it. Yeah, she didn't. And Miley Cyrus was on drugs.
Literally said that. But
I mean, we can watch that clip right now because that was the next subject I was actually going to talk about.
Let's do it.
Okay.
So let me share the screen again.
I have a hard stop, so I am going to be leaving in a moment. But before...
Can you guys hear the audio?
I like looking at my brain.
Yeah. 1 second. Go ahead.
I can hear the audio. Before I have to drop off in a second, but before I do, can I just ask you a question, vegan to vegan, and just get your thoughts? So one of the biggest things when people are always having a negative, opinion of vegans and stuff is the abrasive personalities that vegans are always breeding, because
get over it. I'm sorry. Get over it. If you don't like Richard, then watch Earthling Ed. If you don't like Earthling Ed, then watch Richard. How fucking hard is that? Pick and choose. You have the freedom to click on whatever video you want. If you don't like me, then watch Vegan Gaze. If you don't like Vegan Gaze, then watch Mel and Steve. If you don't like Mel and Steve, how the fuck do you not like these people? They're great. Elle is great. Mel and Steve is great. But you have the power. You can watch Jake. You can watch Vegan Heretic. I don't understand these people who feel like they're locked in. Like, I saw this video. I had to click it. Bro, like, you have the power. That's the great thing about YouTube. It's not like network TV. You don't just turn on a channel and then have to watch everything that comes on it. You can click, 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 click. You're doing it all the time.
I've been told it before. I've been the guy, being quote unquote preachy to someone in the comments. If we both agree that we want a world in which people are vegan, how can we as a vegan try to get that message across?
I did not take Jesus's name in vain. I was appealing to him. Help us, Jesus. Help us. We have gone astray. We have gone astray. Jesus was abrasive to some people, apparently. Wasn't he? That's the story, isn't it?
Without sounding as abrasive, or they always say this thing of like, oh, vegans always have this moral supremacy, and it's like, I just want you guys to stop killing animals. Like, I'm not trying to claim that I'm better than you. I just want to reduce harm. So I kind of wanted to.
I don't do activism to make friends or have people like me. I do activism to convince people to stop eating animals. So if they don't like me personally, but I give them all the information they need for why eating animal products is wrong, why it's bad for you, then that's all I really need to do.
Thank you. And again, that doesn't mean you have to watch Richard. If you don't like Richard and you want to watch an activist who may be rightly or wrongly, by the way, rightly or wrongly, and they may be right that their likability is important, then watch them. You have that control. I don't get it. I don't.
Have you ever?
That's what I love about YouTube, guys. I pick and choose. If I don't like something, I just don't watch it.
For the record, I've consumed your content, and I've consumed a lot of other vegans' content, and I'm just genuinely curious. Have you ever thought maybe I would have more impact by changing my approach? I'm just genuinely curious.
I haven't seen any evidence of that. I've had literally thousands of people message me and tell me, if you didn't have this kind of hard ass approach where you just called me a hypocrite, a piece of crap.
I looked at the comments on this exact video, and there are comments like that on this video.
Showed me all the animal slaughterhouse footage and said, like, you're a piece of shit if you support this. I just wouldn't have listened or cared.
I'll show you. Look, the first comment. This was a bloodbath. You destroyed his points, which were also my talking points against veganism. You turned me a vegan in 2 hours, giving up on all animal products as of this moment. Thank you. No, just be nicer. Oh, look, those activists exist. We need a firebrand.
So I've seen a lot of anecdotal testimony about this, and I haven't seen any research suggesting that disruptive forms of protest where you annoy people is any less effective.
Yeah.
Whenever I,
the funny thing is a lot of people who say this stuff are also in favor of disruptive activism. So it's just that they don't like Richard, which, by the way, is okay. Like, I know that a lot of my audience doesn't like Richard. It happens when I react to vegan gains. A lot of my regular viewers tune out or just don't like it, and that's okay. Like, it would suck if they didn't come back, but it's okay. Like, they have the choice. Like, anybody here has the choice. And I mean, look, I'm gonna just put it this way. I'm not throwing shade on this guy right here, this moderator guy, because I'm sure he does great stuff in his life. But if you don't like someone's approach to activism, then do it better. Do it better than they do. And then get the results. And let's have a competition where we race to the finish. That's what I want to see. I want to see, look, I want to see someone win this shit. And let's say that they're the person who did it the exact opposite way from me. Well, then I will tip my hat to you, madam or sir, or whoever.
On veganism, it always bothers me that the algorithm will favor the controversial takes of veganism over the actual, like, correct information. When even just looking up for this debate, when you look up your content, the biggest clicks to your content is marking you as crazy, as someone that's like, look at this guy.
Okay, and what did he say that was wrong in those videos?
I look at him meltdown, look at this. And it's not your actual informational content. So I was just curious to hear, what was your thoughts on all that and things like that.
Same thing happened to people like Martin Luther King. He was not technically a very controversial figure. He wasn't telling anybody to kill white people or anything.
The
FBI were investigating him illegally. They were finding out that he had mistresses. He was cheating on his wife.
And to that point, I know that there are people in this chat right now, and I won't name call anybody because I don't know if y'all want that to be known that you don't like him. And y'all can say that if you want. And you're still here. And that's even cooler to me. Like, that you're hanging.
They were threatening to go to the newspapers about this, and the newspapers did run bullshit stories about him, calling him an extremist and everything. Doesn't matter. If people don't like your political opinions, they will just do that. So even if I was like look at that vegan teacher. Vast majority of her content is just singing on a ukulele, singing silly songs. People will latch on to some of the smallest things she says.
That guy made, again, I'm sorry to be repetitive for people who've been here a while. This guy on the screen made 65 videos about that vegan teacher on one of his channels. According to Jake, he makes more of them on his main channel. So God knows how many videos he's made about that vegan teacher.
Atheist, and she makes fun of religious people for being dogmatic. Then you have a whole group of people saying, like, oh my God, vegan teacher is like calling everybody who's a Christian like retarded or something. And that's not at all what she said. So, and they'll also claim she's like racist or homophobic because she's stated that the animal agriculture industry exploits animals just like how slavery exploited human beings. That's not a very controversial thing to say, but again, people will turn their brain cells off, screech, freak out, act like a baby, just so that they can cope for, you know, eating animal products and not having a moral excuse for it.
Thanks for your time. Well, I hope you have a great day. Have a dinner.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Kovo. Appreciate you, dude.
Sorry I couldn't stay longer.
Yeah, no worries.
By the way, no shade on that guy. Glad he's vegan. It was still a good question to ask so that Richard can answer for it. I'm sure he's cool, though. I had no idea when we were watching this that he's also vegan and was doing the moderating. That's cool.
Just take care.
Take care.
All right, so let's watch the Miley Cyrus thing.
Able to match it the way you're supposed to.
But I like looking at my brain and going, okay, listen, like someone cut my brakes, right, on my brain, and I have to take all the things, omega. Was vegan for a very long time, and I've had to introduce fish and omegas into my life because my brain wasn't functioning properly. And
don't tell that to the vegans; they'll come for you.
They're gonna come for me, but that's okay. I'm used to people coming for me, and it's gonna be that I come out.
Salary.
No, but when it comes to my brain, you're not vegan.
No,
you can't be vegan and living this kind of and being this quick. But sure, you can. Some people can. I cannot because it was really. I was
what
having
did it
a
do
lot
for your brain?
I feel that I'm much
slowed you down.
Now I'm so much sharper than I was, and I think that I was at one point pretty malnutrition. Like I remember going to Glastonbury, and that was a show that I loved. I loved my performance, but I was running on empty. Like I was on. Can
I ask you? Were you doing a vegan diet like meticulous?
The strictest you've ever known.
But were you doing intelligently? Like
I did all my supplements.
The right way
I do all my protein drinks. I've watched every bodybuilder's YouTube about how they still.
You can't pay attention.
So she's claiming she was following a vegan diet diligently, but she was claiming she was having cognitive difficulties. Do you think there's a greater likelihood that she had cognitive difficulties because of the vegan diet or because she regularly uses recreational drugs, including alcohol, marijuana, tobacco, cigarettes, salvia, MDMA, ketamine, so forth?
Well, if her claims are true that after she got off of the vegan diet that everything improved for her, then I'm inclined to believe that the cause of it would have been the diet.
So let me show you a clip of her doing drugs.
We're gonna take all that. Yeah, hold it.
Keep hold it. Okay, I'm about to lose it now. Just lay down like that. Just gonna document the shit out of this right now. Yeah? Having a little bit of mattress. Really? What's happening? Oh my god. Is that fucking Liam lookalike or what the hell is that? Is that my boyfriend? Is that my boyfriend? Oh my god. Hey. He looks so much like oh my god. Don't tell me that. That's a buzzkill. Oh my god, he looks so much like Liam. Oh my god. Is that me tripping? Is that me tripping? He doesn't look like Liam at all. Okay, well he looks just like Liam. Dude, I know that was like
I kind of don't understand why TMZ has this video because, yeah, she's wasted, but she just seems like she's having a good time too. Like, why are you posting that?
Are you sure he doesn't look like him?
I mean, I understand why Richard's posting this. It's just showing that she's messed up, you know. And yeah, maybe that had to do with the brain fog, but I'm more questioning why is like TMZ calling this such a breaking news story. I don't know. I guess they post everything. Maybe there's more. I don't know.
Tell us what's on your mind. I know she's being weird, right? Tell us what's on your mind. Are you being as weird as you think you are right now? Hello, it's Mary Joseph. Yes, my dear. Say hello to the
Well, that was weird, but okay, whatever.
So again, what do you think the likelihood is she was having some sort of cognitive issues because of the vegan diet or because she does recreational drugs regularly? Well, by the way, she recently stated that she's had a drug problem for a while where it was like dangerous for her to drive, and she's actually finally decided.
Well, this just gets back to what he was saying about Blair White. We're not talking about reliable narrators. We're not talking about experts. We're not talking about people who are very responsible in their lives. So why are you Omni clown doing this? Why are you making a video trying to, piece together these people who, I mean, let's face it, like they've had success, I guess, in some senses, but in other ways, maybe they're like in Miley Cyrus's case, a bit of a mess at this point in their life. I don't know what she's like. I don't follow celebrity shit. I don't care. Sorry. Let me catch up. I have not. Sabby, thank you for the super chat. Sabby, oh man, you are so nice. I'll put them. I can't see the. I put W's in there and a bunch of V's. V for vegan and V for victory. That's for you, Sabby. I hope I didn't miss any others. Sabby, thank you so much. It means so much to me, and it makes this all possible.
Go sober. So there's a problem. Like you can tell her, like you can see just by her voice.
I mean, this is vital. I feel slightly embarrassed. You give me money, but I mean, it's good to call this stuff out. A little bit like entertainment, though, isn't it? It's okay. It's all right. We'll call it vital.
This is somebody who's smoking.
This is an important public service we're doing.
Regularly, drinking regularly. You don't get a voice like that as a female without smoking and drinking. So do you think it's the vegan diet, or do you think it's all the drugs she did? Why she kind of felt like her brain wasn't working
He did
properly?
answer this, so he's just going to say the same thing again. Well, if there was a change after she went away from the vegan diet, and the reason why Richard said she was bullshit about her supplements is she lied again. I just don't understand why you can't pick up on these things. So she said, I had to get my omegas, my fish. So that means she wasn't getting omega before. So no, she wasn't taking omega algae supplements before. So no, she wasn't taking the supplements. And by the way, that is not the cause. Okay? Listen, guys. Listen. I'm going to preface this with I am not a health expert. If anybody tells you that they're having brain fog because they didn't get omega-3s, dude, they're full of shit. Okay? Dude, like, that shit is very speculative, in my opinion. And I'm just going to say that's my opinion. But how many times have I, during being vegan, taken an algae omega supplement? Like, very seldomly. And no, I am not like at this moment, like blending up flax seeds and chia seeds into smoothies and getting my omegas that way. No, I'm not. Doing just fine, apparently.
It's hard. Well, I understand what you're saying. And the way I see it is I definitely think that her doing drugs like that could definitely be a contributing factor to it. But if I am going to take her at face value where she said that,
why would you take anything anybody says at face value?
Right.
Because I just don't see a reason for her to lie. I just don't see a reason for her to try to say that
well,
she stopped being
she
vegan.
Might not necessarily have a motive to lie, but she could have a delusional perception. There's a lot of people who think they have a problem for some specific reason, but it wasn't because of that reason. Look at the amount of people like who claim like vaccines or something like harmed them when they probably didn't. You can actually look at forums where people take different medications. There you can find hair loss forums where people are taking finasteride, which is a hair loss prevention drug. You'll find people claiming they became gay because they took finasteride. Like people can make absurd, ridiculous claims where it's clearly not true, but like they're not lying. It's just their perception, and that may be in the case with.
That's so crazy, guys, because we know the real reason you turn gay is because you eat a bunch of edamame soybeans. Got it. The more that I eat these things, the more I just think about big floppy dong. It's just all I can think about, guys, because of that. Because of that.
Miley Cyrus. So why would you take anybody at face value, especially when you could argue she's a drug addict?
Well, the thing is, I think just because of the fact that, well, she's claiming that when she did start eating fish and reintroduced that into her life, that the issues went away. And I just don't see why.
How do you know she didn't also stop doing drugs around that time, or reduce her drug intake?
I feel like that would be a more interesting thing to mention, that she stopped doing that as well. But
well, do you think she might be motivated to hide her drug use given her career?
No, because I think most people are pretty much assume that she probably does a lot of drugs, because that's like the majority of people that are celebrities around her age. So it's like pretty normalized.
Do you think like there's a reasonable expectation?
Oh, and by the way, about flax and chia and omega, I think it's good for you. Let me just be clear about that. So don't make me dissuade you from doing those healthy things in your life. Taking an algae omega supplement, who knows, probably good for you. Getting flax and chia seeds, probably, well, we know those are good for you, definitely good for you. So yeah, do those things. But I'm just saying, if somebody brings up that, like Miley here is saying, oh, I was in a total brain fog because I need to eat some fish. No, you weren't getting calories, Miley. That's the issue. You didn't have energy because you weren't eating calories, you dumbass. Everybody just doesn't eat enough calories, and then they blame vegan diet. You got to eat enough. And yes, drugs probably played a part in that, because when you're doing a whole bunch of drugs, maybe you're not eating what you should be eating. You're not really taking care of yourself. It's not like taking care of herself was her priority.
That she might not really want to talk about her drug use in public, especially since that TMZ video got released. People have been calling her a drug addict. She obviously probably wouldn't like being called a drug addict, and might not want to mention that she also reduced her use of things like alcohol or other recreational drugs. So again, why would you assume her eating fish or taking omega-3 fish oils improved?
Oh shit. Wasabi blast. Okay, it's gone. Whoa. Oh, it's still there. No, it's gone. It's gone. I feel like they did her dirty with that TMZ video. I'm honestly, like, I feel like, what was so bad? She was just like enjoying herself with friends. Yeah, she was pretty unhinged. Sure, she was probably on drugs, but damn, like, she can't go out and have fun. Can't like get silly. That, man.
Your cognitive function.
Maybe I didn't.
I'm not gonna argue something where I know I could be wrong, because this is a situation where I actually agree with you. There's a chance. There probably is a decent chance that maybe she was hiding the drug use, but it was hard for me to comprehend why she would even bring this up, that she was on a vegan. Like, it seems like something that was just casually mentioned on this podcast.
Yeah, it kind of seems like then maybe you shouldn't have made this video if you didn't really think much about it. And it, like, yeah, maybe.
As something, just a talking point that she found interesting to share. So I just didn't see a reason that there would be any like malice behind it, or like her trying to cover up for something else. You don't need to assume malice.
You just don't. If you're going to do any sort of journalism, you don't just take people at their word. And especially knowing she's in the music industry, like, why would you think she's a reliable narrator?
Seriously.
Given that people in the music industry tend to do a lot of drugs.
I'll give you that. I'm going to go on and say I didn't.
How many concessions has this guy made during this video? Oh, God. Oh, God, I'm being hounded by a wasp. Oh, boy. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do a gentle moving. Okay. It's going to distract me, is why. Oh, he's flying. Oh, he's going for the light. Come on, buddy. Get on that. Come on. Oh, no. It's really distracting trying to do a vid when the wasp is like crawling crawling around on the light, guys. That's the issue that I'm having. It's like I can't not look at him because he has a giant stinger. A giant ass stinger. Y'all get me? Sorry for this delay. You have to be super gentle with insects if you don't want to hurt them, you know? Okay, he's on the book. He's on the book. I'm going to be super gentle. Bring him over here. Okay, we're good. We're good. Lay the book down. That's how you deal with an insect, okay? You got to be gentle. Let them crawl on the thing. Don't like push them on there. Let them crawl on there and then go and lay it down. Don't push them off because you'll hurt their legs. You'll hurt them. All right. Okay, we're back. We're back.
When I came across this clip, I thought that it was just an interesting perspective from somebody who is very well known.
Evil Steven, it's been a problem the whole time when I've been at this place. The whole time. It's just right now it's really cold outside, so they come in.
And what they believe to be their experience with veganism. Now, we could call her a liar, right?
So
but she very well.
Here's my opinion on what happened. Tell me if you might think this is accurate. You have a chip on your shoulder when it comes to vegans. You don't particularly like them. You wanted to make a video attacking veganism, and you saw that clip, thought, oh, this is a good clip. This is juicy. I can use this without any consideration on whether or not the information in this is accurate.
He just, guys. He just denied having a chip on his shoulder about vegans. Your Honor, I present Exhibit A. Hey, I am the Omni King, short for the Omnivore King. The short version's got a better ring to it. Anyway, I make content about annoying vegan activists that we all can't stand. No chip. Here's my first two videos. Here's my most recent two videos about vegan teacher. How many are there? 65 in 65 videos. Of course, it started with Tash. Who else is it? Let's count Tash. 1, 2. Why is he going after Ed? So we got 1, 2, 3. Is that her? I think that's her. 4, 5, 6, 7. She's not his favorite. 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm sure I'm missing some. Whoa. 12. 13. 14. 15, 16. 17. 18. 18. That to me screams straitjacket. Tash, Katie, you guys beef up your security. This guy is obsessed with you. Beef up that security. Yikes. Yikes. Got chills, you know?
accurate?
No, I think you misinterpreted.
Okay,
the point
so
of my video.
you on good faith found a clip of Miley Cyrus, who is a known drug addict, talking about how she started eating fish and she noticed her brain worked better.
I would like to clarify my position here.
Yeah,
and the purpose of this.
Please clarify your position. Maybe do so with a YouTube channel devoted to how amazingly your butt is injured from these vegan activists. I'm sorry. I got to bring it up again, guys. Give them some of that cream. Give them. Nilf, I call on you to donate. Do not charge him because he might not buy it. Just donate him 1 container. Okay? Just 1. Please, please, Nilf. Please do it for the good of humanity. Do it for the good of humanity. Yeah. Listen. I know it's not a charity. I'll donate, okay? I will send the money to you and buy him some ointment, okay? Are we back? I think we're back. Wait. I'm looking at my own stream. That ain't right. Share this tab. Oh, that was like Inception, wasn't it? All their right supplements. Again, you just take people at their word, but you don't take vegans at their word. They're taking all their right supplements and still having health trouble. Okay, what are all their right supplements? Do some thinking, my friend. You're not my friend, by the way. Go fuck yourself. Oh, yeah. Sure. College campus. You can't be vegan on a college campus. Oh, you're just so poor. You're in college. That's a privilege. Oh, ugh, man. By the way, when it comes to potatoes, who out there is not sprinkling nutritional yeast on their potato? You should be. Then you got your B12, and it's delicious. People that can't eat potatoes. Yeah, let's take into consideration people that can't eat potatoes. Okay, are you someone who can't eat potatoes? You mean French fries? You can't eat them. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, let's just try and imagine let's just try and imagine a world where I'm trying to imagine this world where people go to McDonald's and they order the Happy Meal and the burger comes and the fries come and they're like, I should have mentioned, I will die if I touch those French fries. That doesn't happen. What? What are we doing? What are we doing? There's people who may be autistic and can't eat potatoes because they're autistic. What the fuck? Oh, that's evil. Not, putting the cow in the slaughterhouse, but bringing up this insanely marginal scenario where someone can't eat, but we're talking about one fucking food item, by the way. Can't eat the potato because of the texture. Oh, yep. I wanted entertainment and I got it. What? Where did I go wrong, Mary? What did I fail on? I got it together. I've got it. Did I fuck that up? What did I say wrong? Did I mess something up? Jeffrey, what's up? What's up? Man, I feel like Nilf's being a little selfish. I feel like Nilf's being a little bit selfish. Wait, are we still? Wait, hang on. We're sharing this tab, right? Why is mine so delayed that it's still showing? Oh. Damn it, guys. Damn it.
Eating humans?
Sorry.
Getting potatoes.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. We've got to go through all the potato shit again. Fuck.
She did the diet terribly, but that's my
fuck. Okay, remember what I said about potatoes and just apply it to this scenario.
point.
Okay.
That
Well,
a lot of people
let's go
can't
talk about Zona
do
now.
it correctly. So that's like the
Damn.
whole purpose of this video was like, I don't think everybody should be vegan because I think even if 10% of people went vegan, I feel like a huge amount of those people would drop like flies because they couldn't do it correctly.
I'll remember all the brilliant stuff I said about potatoes.
Because whatever life situations, whatever financial, like even when I was vegetarian, I was 130 pounds. I'm 6 feet tall. I'm 165 now. I couldn't because I was poor. Like I couldn't get the things that I needed.
Potatoes one of the most expensive foods?
No,
I could
but
get
I
them
was
for
in a
$2
situation
for
where
like 8 pounds.
Yes, but I was also in a situation where cooking wasn't really an option. Like I lived on a college campus.
I bought a bunch of these today, guys. $2 even. $2 even for a whole bag of these things. I bring it up every time. 14 grams of protein, 3.5 servings per bag, which is, I believe we calculated up to 58 grams of protein for $2.
I didn't have access to that sort of stuff.
So
and, like,
you
my
can't
food options
just
were
smuggle
very
a microwave
limited.
into your dorm and eat potatoes.
Here's the thing, potatoes isn't enough, right? You're very aware that
if you're getting most of your calories from potatoes, you will get most of the nutrition you need. All you really need to supplement is B12, and depending on whether or not you need more vitamin.
That's why I said the thing about the nooch. Put the nooch on the potato, you get the B12. Okay.
You might need
Thank
to
you
eat
guys for helping me, by the way.
some carrots, but you can get the vast majority of your nutrition from just potatoes.
Okay, well then you take people that can't eat potatoes into consideration. Well,
I
that's
didn't
not an
realize
option
there
for
are
them.
potato allergies.
I'm sure there are people that can't eat it not because of allergies, but there's people, for instance, that may be autistic that have those like, I forgot what the technical name is, but those like issues with like certain types of food textures where they literally cannot bear it. And I'm guarantee you there's lots of people in my comments that have those issues. That's evil because that's not.
That's evil, but killing innocent animals isn't evil. So if I told you I cannot eat anything other than human flesh, the taste and texture of...
Now we're caught up, guys. Now you see, now you understand all my comments, right? Now you're like, whoa, that was so insightful. And that really added to what we're watching. I love this channel. I love Jeremy. Now you're thinking, this channel is worth my subscription. I will subscribe. I will hit like. Yeah. I know what's going through your minds right now. I see the viewing count going down. It's fewer people are tuning in now that I started.
Every other food just disgusts me and it makes me want to vomit. The only food I can eat is human flesh. You'd be okay with me killing and eating humans?
I'm gonna go ahead and say it. That's obviously no. Obviously, I wouldn't be okay with that, and I already know where you're gonna go with that. And I accept that.
We've already gone down that road.
I accept that contradiction.
I accept that contradiction. You have lost the debate, sir.
Because obviously, no, I would not be okay with you eating humans. Unfortunately, yeah, I'd prefer for that person to have to figure it out somehow. And I get it. I get it. That complicates things.
And by the way,
that totally complicates things.
It doesn't complicate things. It really simplifies things. But, you know, as we see with the results of this channel, we now have a situation where, you know, you have a whole channel devoted to this, coping from this debate loss.
Since we're on this topic right now, your kind of premise in this whole video was that if people go vegan, a lot of them will notice some sort of health issues. You realize vegans in general live longer and have fewer health issues than meat eaters on the aggregate. Well, so there's multiple long-term cohorts.
He doesn't.
The Adventist Health Study 2. They found that mortality was lower among vegans. Adjusted HR for all-cause mortality in vegans was 0.85. Now, if you actually go into the data set, the reason this is not statistically significant here is because they included men and women in this data set in the abstract. For whatever reason, the women...
Just so we're clear, dude here has no clue what he's talking about.
In the study did very poorly in all groups in general. If you look at men specifically, they had much lower risk of all-cause mortality, the vegan men.
I don't understand how it's reasonable to omit the women, though.
Yeah. We get that you don't understand.
Like they're still a part of the statistics. So, like,
well, again, the women in each
women,
group.
so that
well, you're a man, and the women in each group actually did worse than the men for whatever reason. Nobody really knows why, but the women for whatever reason did worse. However.
Well,
again,
that makes the data pretty inconclusive then.
No,
if there's this sort of discrepancy,
and by the way, this is only this is only one study. I can show you the other. They also found that again, let me go down here. So, I think this is both groups combined. So this just shows the vegetarians. I think this is the all-cause mortality was lower among vegetarians. Ischemic heart disease lower in vegetarians. Cardiovascular disease lower in vegetarians.
Well, this is kind
cancer
of
lower in vegetarians. Sorry,
it's kind of irrelevant because we're trying to talk about vegetarians.
Well, and you can also look at the vegan groups. So let me see.
But there's something I want to add though, because
there's something I want to add too, is that you called yourself a vegetarian, that you said that you were a vegetarian. So you don't want to talk about vegetarians now, but they're in this, and you said you were one.
This study, the thing is about the majority of people that go vegan, the vast majority of them do it by choice. And I guarantee you that a significant portion of them have the means to have a healthy vegan diet.
You have the means to have a healthy vegan diet, and so does everyone, dude. I know homeless people who are vegan.
I just don't think that's indicative of the entire general population of the world. Like, I guarantee
one of the best activists that I know was homeless for years as a vegan.
to you, there are so many people that do not have
impoverished
do not
people
and
tend
will
to eat
not
more
have access.
plant-based.
I'm not talking about necessarily just impoverished people, and also I've
That
noticed,
is
I've seen in my comments that people.
That is literally what you said. You said that people who go vegan have the means to go vegan. So you're talking about money, I assume? Access, money, access?
That were poor, even myself, I was extremely malnourished because of my options were so bad.
Because you're a moron. That's why. Because you didn't know how to eat. Because while you were growing up, your mom and dad fed you and you didn't learn how to fucking eat. You weren't an adult. You were the age of an adult, but you weren't grown up. And that's your problem, not the animal's problem. Get your shit together and leave the animals alone.
No, you were malnourished because you just chose to not eat properly. It was entirely
That's not true. I
your
didn't
choice.
have options.
Okay, so you were just going on. You were just going on about.
You were in college. You had the means.
How human beings have like executive function. They have moral agency. They can make their own decisions. You had the decision to eat properly. You just didn't.
I didn't have the decision to eat
No,
properly because I only could eat what was available to me. I'm talking about well before I was purchasing my own groceries, and I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment.
He said it himself.
With 6.
You just didn't.
I didn't have the decision to eat properly because I only could eat what was available to me. I'm talking about well before I was purchasing my own groceries, and
well before I was purchasing my own groceries. So then you should have purchased your own groceries. Like I said, you weren't grown up. You should have grown up and then started purchasing your own groceries. Oh man, I hate when privilege fucking shows its ugly, it rears its ugly head. Oh God. And then people try and use non-privilege, you know, people without privilege to justify their shitty behavior. Ugh. You're, God. Oh, man.
I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment with 6 people. And
so
only one
did
person was
you
working.
ever have more than $2 in your bank account at any one time?
More than $2 when I wasn't working and I was a child?
So what was this?
He's talking about when he was in college, and he now says I was a child. I agree.
Situation exactly?
I'm saying like, because I'm talking about people.
Yeah,
like,
no. He asked you, what was your situation? Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Situation exactly?
I'm saying like, because I'm talking about people like, because you're saying that people that are impoverished or whatever have the choice, that still somehow have the choice to eat better. But sometimes when you don't actually control what is available in your house, which is a lot of people, which is a significant amount of people, don't have that control. They don't have those options. So like if they decide, well, I'm going to be
what
vegan.
Was the I'm asking.
Yeah, let's
asking you what the specific situation you were in.
What do you mean the specific situation I was in?
You're claiming you had no option to eat adequately. So what was the situation?
Like growing up as a child, like growing up until I eventually became an adult and like moved out, like I didn't have options. I had to eat what was available, which wasn't much.
And you couldn't put a potato in the microwave and eat it?
No, I didn't have potatoes.
You didn't have potatoes. Did you have rice?
No, my mother didn't. My mother pretty much only purchased like pretty much processed food. So it's like I didn't have potatoes.
Okay, so you're an adult now, and I'm assuming you have more than $2 in your bank account.
Oh yes, that's correct. And this isn't about me specifically. This is about people in general.
No, it is about you.
Okay, well, I'm debating you. So you're an adult now, correct? So
yes.
You have the ability to eat a vegan diet just fine.
That is correct. Yes, okay. I do. Okay. I have that privilege to do that. Yes.
Okay.
And you had that privilege before, even though you're full of shit. You had that privilege before. Even when your mom was buying the shit that she was buying, you could have said, hey, Mom, I want vegan food. And you could have rummaged through the fridge, and I'm sure you would have found that, oh, yeah, like fucking 80% of what's in here is already vegan.
So if you look at all-cause mortality, ischemic heart disease, cardiovascular disease, cancer, this is...
And I mean, let's take him at his word that all that he had, that's it. As he was a child, was lean cuisines bought by his mom, just microwave meat dishes. Let's say that was the case. That doesn't justify what he's doing now.
Is both groups combined. Again, vegans had lower risk of all-cause mortality, lower risk of ischemic heart disease, cardiovascular disease, cancer, and if you look at men in particular, so this is this is the vegan men. So you see much more statistical significance. So vegan men, 0.72 hazard ratio for all-cause mortality. So they were 28% less likely to die compared to meat eaters. 0.45 hazard ratio for ischemic heart disease. So they're 55% less likely to have ischemic heart disease. 0.58 hazard ratio for cardiovascular disease. So they were 42% less likely to have cardiovascular disease. 0.81 for cancer. So that would be 19% less likely to have cancer. So vegans did better on average, quite a bit better. They lived longer, had lower risk of chronic disease. That was from the Adventist Health Study 2. This is the Oxford vegetarian cohort. So this followed 6,000 vegetarians, 5,000 non-vegetarians. And the subjects were recruited between 1988 and 1984, and they had 12 years of follow-up. So they followed the participants for 12 years from the beginning of the study.
Had lower total?
All-cause mortality in the whole cohort was roughly half that in the population of England and Wales. After adjusting for smoking, body mass index, and social class, death rates were lower in non-meat eaters than in meat eaters for each of the mortality endpoints studied. So they found a 0.8 hazard ratio for all-cause mortality, so 20% less likely to die of all causes. 0.72 for ischemic heart disease. 0.61 for all malignant neoplasm, so certain types of cancer. Mortality from ischemic heart disease was also positively associated with estimated intakes of total animal fat, saturated animal fat, and dietary cholesterol. Other analyses showed that non-meat eaters had only half the risk of meat eaters of requiring an emergency appendectomy, and that vegans in Britain may be at risk for iodine deficiency. So that was one of the findings. Vegans should eat more iodine. But in general, they found that vegans and vegetarians did much better than your average meat eater. So I'm just wondering, what is the basis for your claim that your average vegan is going to suffer horrible health problems when you look at these large prospective cohorts? Vegans tend to do better.
Yeah.
Well, I think I already
No.
said my...
Let me rephrase that. I just want to ask the question in a way that makes it a little more concise than what Richard just said. How are you going to save face for the next 40 plus minutes after I have wrecked you numerous times in the ethical debate, in the health debate? I brought studies. You didn't bring studies. You've conceded to me 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, however many fucking times already. How are you going to save face for the next 40 minutes? That's my question. Sorry, take it away.
Piece on this, because the problem with this...
Better.
Well, I think I already kind of said my piece on this, because...
Yeah, you flopped.
With this sort of data is that such a small percentage of people actually are vegan that it kind of skews the sample size, because the fact of the matter is there are so many other factors that you can put into this that aren't being shown in the study. Like, what kind of person, what kind of lifestyle does this person have that makes them go vegan in the first place?
They adjusted for lifestyle variables. So they adjusted for lifestyle variables, including socioeconomic status. This is a normal thing. So again, it says it right in the abstract, after adjusting for smoking, body mass index, and social class. So they adjusted for relevant lifestyle factors like smoking, whether or not you're overweight, drinking, social class, so whether or not you're poor. They adjusted for those factors. No prospective cohort just looks at raw data. So no, they adjusted for these factors, and they were able to weed.
How much y'all willing to bet? And by the way, I'm not throwing shade on this particular point, because most people don't read studies, but how much you want to bet this guy has never read a study in his life? Never, ever, ever, ever. I'm willing to bet he's never even read a complete abstract from a study. Ever. 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 And again, like most people don't, and that's fine. And then they don't make videos like claiming that they know shit.
That these dietary patterns improve the health of these populations. So again, like, what basis do you have to make the claim your average vegan is going to suffer from horrible health issues when we look at these large prospective
You know what? Wait. He said at the beginning of this video that he studies physics. Maybe he has read studies. You think? I don't know, because when Richard pointed out that they adjusted for these variables, he seemed taken aback. So even that concept seemed to throw him.
Cohorts. Plant-based diets have better health outcomes.
Here's the thing. I didn't say average vegan. Okay. I just still think even a decent amount of people, just a significant amount of people, I don't think would be able to thrive on a vegan diet.
So do you think a lot of people are thriving on the standard American diet?
What's a standard American diet?
Dude, well, again, lots of meat.
How are you making videos about this and you don't even know the concept of the standard American diet? Dude, it's like you've never even read blogs. Like, a lot of people talk about that who don't even know what the fuck they're talking about.
Lots of processed food, just what your average person eats. Look at the rates of obesity, diabetes, heart disease, cancer. Look at all the people who have to get their feet cut off. Look at all the people who have to get bypass surgeries, have to be on diabetes medication. Like, do you, like, again, when we're looking at these large...
Richard's Canadian, by the way. They're talking about the standard American diet. Is the standard American diet reflective of, like, North America? What about this guy? Where's he from? I'm curious. Not that curious. Not curious enough to look.
Respective cohorts, and we're talking about the average dietary pattern. Clearly, a plant-based dietary pattern is ideal over a standard American diet. So again, when you say, oh, if you go vegan, and again, your average person is following a standard American diet, you're going to have health problems. Well, they're going to have health problems if they follow the diet they're already on, the standard American diet.
Well, from what I have read, that a lot of doctors tell a lot of people that sticking to their vegan diets will lead to XYZ.
Doctors aren't dietitians. They have no nutrition training. So I don't know. I don't care what doctors say.
Dietitians as well. Dietitians as well have said that. So it's
also what you've read. I'd really love to see what this guy's read about the topic, because he seems to not know virtually anything about it.
That's great. What evidence do they have to base this on?
I'm more concerned. What was that?
What evidence do they have to base this on?
I mean, it's their profession. It's like, it's what they're meant to study.
Well, great. I'm a professional asshole, and I'm telling you, if you don't act like a dickhead and ram into people's cars in the parking lot, you're going to have health problems. What do I care? I don't care about their profession. I don't care about their social status. What is the evidence supporting the idea that your average person is going to develop health problems merely from following a plant-based diet?
Well, the fact of the matter is, I think the quote-unquote the evidence is just testimonials from people that have lived it. So it's, and I think a lot of it represents the average person, because a lot of the times your average person isn't able to stick to a very strict diet that requires you to do very
your average person's overweight, obese, doesn't exercise. Your average person has a lot of fucking difficulty following any sort of dietary, strict dietary regime. They have a very, big problem just going to the gym. Most people get a gym membership, they cancel it after 3 months, or they just don't go. So just because they have an issue following something, that doesn't mean what...
I take that personally, Richard. I feel like you were calling me out. By the way, guys, I went to the gym the other day. My arms are still sore from it. But I took that personal.
They're doing is bad. Again, is exercise bad for you because most people can't follow a strict exercise routine?
Well, it did hurt my arms. It did hurt my arms, Richard. I'm well on my way to 405, benching 405, Richard. Hope you know. Well on my way. And by on my way, I mean I'm pretty far from that. Pretty far away. but on my way. I'm getting closer to.
Well, how do you? So take Zana, for instance, which I think you were meant to pull that up before, but I think you might have.
Let's watch the clip and we can discuss it.
Be healthy, which is a really big misconception that people have with veganism. They think it's just the most healthy option that's available. When in reality, we are omnivores. The most healthy option that you can possibly.
He's playing that fucking violin shit. I thought it was Blair White playing the violins. No, he added the violins.
Do is a balanced diet that includes meats, animal proteins, and things, B12, things that you actually need to survive and thrive that come from animals primarily. That is what a good diet will consist of, not whatever the hell these people are doing.
Did he add the typewriter sound effect?
So this woman was clearly anorexic. She was also following a very absurd raw diet where she even restricted water intake. She actually wouldn't drink water. She ended up dying from cardiac arrest, and she probably had really severe bradycardia from being underweight, and then she ended up just dropping dead. That's what happens to anorexics. What does this have to do with a vegan diet? Do you think your average vegan is eating literally nothing but fruit and doesn't drink water?
Definitely not. No, definitely not.
By the way,
so is this in bad faith? Is this a little bit in bad faith? Omni boy.
This woman's Maria Emmerich. If you look at her YouTube page, all about the keto lifestyle from the experts in keto, and I think right now she's following a carnivore diet where she basically just eats red meat all day, and she also eats eggs and butter and stuff. Well, this is what she looks like. Today. She looks a bit more frail to me than that woman we just watched.
I hear you. I know that. But
so do you think it's like, do you think it's reasonable for me to say, oh, well, look what happens when you eat meat?
But this is her eating only meat. So that's the issue.
So dude, when the thesis of your video is you're going to have health problems on a vegan diet, or very likely you're going to have health problems on a vegan diet.
If you don't,
cherry pick this one vegan who has anorexia, only eats fruit and doesn't drink water, and say, see, like I could do the same thing. Look at what health problems you're going to do if you eat animal products and eat meat.
But my argument is for doing both. It's for being omnivorous. It's literally what I just said in that clip that you saw, talking about the best balanced diet is to have everything that includes your meat. Not
so. What evidence do you have to base that claim? So, in the Oxford vegetarian cohort and in the Adventist health study that I just showed you, vegans and vegetarians had the best health outcomes. Infrequent meat eaters had better health outcomes than standard meat eaters, which were the referent group. But vegetarians and vegans, people who either mostly or completely abstained from all animal products, had the lowest rates of obesity, hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. So again, what evidence do you have to base that claim on, that a mixed diet is ideal?
I'm going to take that for you, Richard. I'm going to take that for you. None. Zero. No evidence.
Well, I think the issue, again, with that study and the data that came from it is that the amount of people that are vegan is such a small amount that it does not represent.
That was a large number of vegans.
A big enough percentage of people. So if 50% of people were vegan, I'm very, very certain those results would be quite different. Now,
very, very certain based on what evidence? Provide the evidence, please.
Again, what I'm saying is that a balanced diet, because it gets you everything you need. Basically, when you supplement, right? When you supplement on a vegan diet, you're basically making it so that you are getting the things that you need from that would originally come more easily from animal proteins. It's basically doing that same thing, but more.
I know this is a nitpick, but he said, okay. I think this is too nitpicky, but he did say getting your nutrients from more easily from animal proteins. Well, proteins are the individual nutrient, and I think he just means meat or whatever. It's still a dumb way of saying it.
Or naturally, and it's easier for somebody to do that than to have a checklist.
So
of I need these.
So tell me
proteins.
why it's so hard to cook tofu as opposed to chicken.
To cook tofu instead of chicken. I don't think that's a good example of the difficulty of, even most vegans will say that it is difficult for them to be on that diet and to be healthy.
No, it's not at all.
On it, and that is coming from people that are vegan. Yeah, a lot of them do say
most
that.
Vegans, okay, can you give me a survey showing most vegans say it's hard to be on a vegan diet?
This is word of mouth. This is from people that I've talked to.
Okay, so just trust me,
This
bro.
isn't from...
Yeah, trust me, bro.
So, by the way, when most people are overweight or obese, prevalence of heart disease is about 25%. Obesity has now overtaken cigarette smoking as the biggest public health issue. It's the #1 cause of death over smoking. Do you think like a lot of people are having trouble being healthy, like just in general? So
yeah.
Sabby, what? Sabby, oh my God. Setting the tone, Sabby, you are so generous. Oh my God. Oh my God. Nilf, I'm going to play that the Invincibles game, the Invincible, tonight. Okay. Game was dope. Can't remember who was there. I was so tired when I was playing that. Game was so good though. V's for victory and vegan. Ah, you're so nice, Sabby. Thank you so much. Yeah, Sabby said we need to get the super chats going.
Why are you saying?
And I think people, but the thing is, I think people should eat better in general, which is also like something that I was saying with the balanced diet, that yeah, a lot of Americans especially
most
eat like
people
shit.
are eating like shit. So again, when somebody chooses to avoid saturated fat, avoid cholesterol, increase their fruit and vegetable consumption, eat more fiber, all dietary patterns that lead to better health outcomes. Again, Tony, how is recommending that sort of dietary pattern going to lead to more health issues?
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to use an example that some people do not digest plant proteins nearly as well as animal proteins.
Nope.
So what ends up happening, it's true.
Nope.
It is very true.
Nope.
Yes, it is.
Nope.
So we can, let me see. Dietary protein and so dietary protein and amino acids in vegetarian diets, a review. So we can actually look at some of the literature.
Oops. Did Richard have a study? Yeah, he did.
Give me a second.
This guy should have paid Richard for this education he's getting. Richard's helping him out a lot more than that college did.
There's a portion here where they discuss yeah, here we go. Another factor to consider is differential rates of protein digestibility that impact amino acid availability, often considered as being poor for plant proteins. This remains a matter of debate. There's very little evidence at present regarding a marked difference in protein digestibility in humans. The more precise data collected so far in humans assessing real specific oral ileal nitrogen digestibility has shown that the difference in the digestibility between plant and animal protein sources are only a few %. Contrary to historical findings in rats or determinations using less precise methods in humans. For soy protein isolate, pea protein flour or isolate, wheat flour, and lupine flour, the figures were 89 to 92%, similar to those found for eggs, 91%, meat, 90 to 94%, and slightly lower than those reported for milk protein at 95%. It's important to note that most of the plant protein sources studied came from raw, untreated, unheated, or minimally heated sources, and some were ingested in complex food matrices as unheated flour, and the worst conditions for plant protein because of the presence of trypsin inhibitors and the poor enzyme accessibility of some plant native proteins. While further research may be warranted to explore possible variations in the bioavailability of some specific amino acids, body of evidence so far does not show a difference large enough to result in risk of insufficient amino acid absorption for vegetarian and plant-based diets. So there is also an interesting study that was done on elderly individuals. Amount rather than animal versus plant protein intake is associated with skeletal muscle mass in community-dwelling, middle-aged, and older Chinese adults. Results from the Ganzhou Nutrition Health Study. So aging causes muscle loss. The term's called sarcopenia. So if there's a difference in protein digestibility between plant and animal sources of protein, you'd likely see it in elderly populations because they're most prone to muscle wasting. So the results, the SMI increased significantly across quintiles of relative dietary intake of total animal and plant protein. The LMM among participants in the highest versus lowest quintile were 0.3 for total protein, for animal protein 0.4, 0.3 for total protein, 0.3 for animal protein, and 0.4 for plant protein, respectively. However, the ratio of animal to plant protein was not associated with either SMI or presence of LMM. So that's an abbreviation for skeletal muscle index and lean muscle mass. So conclusion, higher dietary intakes of total animal and plant protein, regardless of the ratio of animal to plant protein, are associated with greater muscle mass in community-dwelling, middle-aged, and older Chinese adults. So they found no difference between animal and plant protein. As long as they were getting the same total protein intake, even if it came exclusively from plants or exclusively from animals, they still had the same amount of muscle mass. So your claim that if you're eating plant-derived proteins, you're going to have protein deficiency or anything, there's no data supporting that. As long as you're eating adequate protein intakes, whether it's from plant or animal sources, doesn't seem to be.
It's going to come back with, no, I just said that for some people.
Matter.
Watch.
Well, I know that for a fact that plant proteins, a lot of them, not all of them, don't have the exact same amino acids that pretty much all animal proteins have. So it requires a variety of different ones because they don't have all the same amino acids, except for, I think it's like, I don't know, tofu, a couple other things. But you know what? I'm going to give you credit where credit is due. Okay? Because based off of this information, I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong about something. It does seem to be the case that, I mean, people eat like crap. It's true. But
he's conceded to this debate so many times. And again, did that lead to reflection? No, it led to this channel. It led to this. All these videos. This is in 7 months. All this. And he does a different channel as well. 3 hours ago, 5 days ago, 7 days ago, 9 days ago. This is consistent. I mean, impressive. Meat flakery. Does this count? Yeah, this got to count for this year because the channel's been going for like 7 months. Meat Flake of the Year. Send it to David Rams. Flood his inbox with nominations.
But I still stand behind that. I think to have a healthy lifestyle and eat like a more accessible way for most people is to just have a good balance of everything versus going to what I feel is more extreme of cutting out all animal products and having to supplement in order to make sure that you have everything that you need. I just think that for the vast majority of people, that's significantly more difficult to do than to just have a balanced, regular, non-vegan diet.
Well, look, in the current food climate that we have, being healthy is difficult. Okay, most people are overweight or obese. Most people are going to die of heart disease or diabetes or cancer. So it is difficult for most people to actually live a healthy lifestyle. If you're interested in being as healthy as possible, the recommendation is obvious. You should avoid all animal products. You should reduce saturated fat consumption as much as you can. That means avoiding things like dairy, butter, specifically red meat, which is tends to be very fatty. You should minimize your intake of cholesterol. The ideal cholesterol intake is 0. That means, again, no animal products. Increasing your fiber consumption, eating lots of fruits and vegetables. And that dietary pattern clearly has the best overall health outcomes. Exercising every day. also massively improves health outcomes. But again, that's difficult for a lot of people to do. But if we're interested in giving the best advice, what will make you the most healthy, the most likely to avoid disease? I'm not going to tell them, oh, well, just eat a mixed diet and whatever, because that's not true. I'm giving the best recommendations I possibly can. And the best recommendation I can make is eat an appropriately planned whole foods plant-based diet and exercise as frequently as you can. The more exercise, the better. Do a mix of weight training and cardiovascular exercise. That is very hard for most people to do. And I'll admit, most people won't be able to stick to that.
But being vegan is not hard to do. And you will have a bit of a higher baseline on your health if you're just sensible about being vegan and you're not doing something fucking bonkers crazy like that person was doing who ended up dying. Restricting her own water intake. I mean, that's a tragedy. But it was so avoidable. Like, what? Where was she getting her information? It was very strange.
Sort of plan. But we're not talking about what's easy. We're talking about what's most healthful.
I think the way I see it, though, I think that you could get by on screwing up a regular omnivorous diet better than you can get by screwing up a vegan diet.
No, the opposite. In fact, most vegans are not health vegans. They're in it for the ethics. That's what veganism is. I mean, I'm relatively healthy, I would say. And I'll admit, I eat a lot of crap. Now, I mix in good food in there. But I mean, damn, like, I mean, I've always had a body type that was more on the lean side anyway, so not saying it might not be more of a struggle for someone else, but it's the opposite of what you're saying. If you're a vegan and you're just like kind of lazy with your diet, you're still going to be way healthier than your typical meat eater. And in some cases, and I know this is anecdotal, but in some cases, you will outperform those people who are like doing health shit on an omnivore diet. And I can look to myself. I've told this story before. Back when I was doing radio, I used to get off the air in the morning and go to the pool and swim. It was most days. It wasn't every single day, but it was most days. So I was swimming all the time. I was in good physical condition. And then I'd get off there. I'd go over to this little breakfast spot. Typically, I'd have 2 sunny side up eggs and like a little bit of salad and stuff. That was like my breakfast. And whatever bread, I don't remember. Something like that. And that was doing it almost every day. Fast forward to, I don't know, maybe 4 years into veganism. I hadn't really been doing any exercising, decided to get back in the pool, started swimming. Within 1 week of doing decently consistent swimming, I was outperforming my younger self, who should have had all the advantages of youth and consistent work schedule. So I knew when I was waking up, I knew when I was getting off work. It was a consistency that promotes good health as well. Although, I mean, I had to get up super early, so that didn't. Because I was still, and I will say, like, just to kind of throw a wrench in this theory of mine, I was drinking back in those days, which is a major hindrance. That is definitely a performance hindrance. And I don't drink anymore. So that could, it's anecdotal, but I'm just saying the baseline is so much better. And, me and my buddies, we like to go hiking a lot. Sometimes I'll go solo. Sometimes I'll go with a buddy. We're always like pacing, like in shape, out of shape. We are all over that mountain. No problem. No problem.
effect, because if you're, for instance, if you're just fucking up by not taking B12 versus you're fucking up by eating too much red meat, like the B12 will probably get you sooner than the heart disease that's going to come from eating too much red meat.
All
which is one
you
of the reasons
have to
that I
do
don't
is
eat red
take a
meat myself.
multivitamin.
But that's not the point.
All
the
you
point
have to do is take a multivitamin. So I don't know, like I don't know if this is a meaningful discussion. Like
meat, so it's the same. It's
I don't. So just real quick, I don't see what got said in the chat. I see y'all like there was maybe a little misunderstanding. Just want y'all to know, Tess and Sabby, you are two of the basest individuals. So Tess, meet Sabby. Sabby, meet Tess. You guys are both awesome. You guys will get along great. I don't know what just happened. That's fine. What's up, Alicia? Nice to see you. What's up? Yeah. No, you guys are both cool. Both very, very cool individuals.
the same idea, but versus not having the actual supplement, just not having it versus eating poorly, like not having that supplement is going to kill you faster. And that's
okay,
that's
great. Then don't do that. Like again, well, what's easier?
The thing is,
tell me what's easier: taking one multivitamin a day, or going to the grocery store, paying at least $2 per pound for steak, grilling it or cooking it up whatever way you want, eating like a whole meal, and then later on in life having to deal with the consequences of eating these animal products. Guess what? You think eating a multivitamin is hard? Well, now you're going to have to be on cholesterol-lowering medications. You're going to have to be on diabetes medications. You're not going to be able to do any physical activity without getting angina and severe heart pain.
It's just health. This is excluding the ethics, which he's already conceded to multiple times.
So I don't know why we're talking about this. Like, okay, if you have like 0 vitamin B12 in your system, that might negatively affect you faster than eating a steak. But maybe you should just not be stupid and just take a multivitamin.
Hey, I mean, you're right. But the thing is, the average person's going to do what they do. And I just think my whole point is this is all for the average person. That's my whole argument is for just your.
Yeah, no, it's not. Your whole point was, like Richard said earlier, is that you have some kind of chip on your shoulder. Maybe it was a vegan that he dated and she dumped him or didn't call him back or something. Man, this is next level though. This is next level meat flakery. Even the trolls, like I'm impressed by the meat flakery of the trolls that come into my streams, especially some of them that just are repeat visitors. But even them, I think after the trolling's done, they go about their day. They don't spend their time thinking, oh, I got to make this video about vegan teacher. Got to get that vegan teacher video out. I don't think so.
For average person. So, and I just think, again, I'm just repeating myself, so I'm not going to do it again, but that messing up on a vegan diet, I think is going to kill you faster than messing up on an omnivorous diet. So
we can talk about nutritional deficiencies on multiple different diets. So this is micronutrient status and intake in omnivores, vegetarians, and vegans in Switzerland.
Look, Richard has another study.
It's
like
this is a relative
like Richard came prepared to the debate and was ready to talk about it, and the other guy wasn't.
Really small sample size, but it gives you some idea. So 100 omnivores, 53 vegetarians, and 53 vegans aged 18 to 50 were recruited. So omnivores had the lowest intake of magnesium, vitamin C, vitamin E, niacin, and folic acid. Vegans reported low intakes of calcium and a marginal consumption of vitamin D and B12. Highest prevalence for vitamin and mineral deficiencies in each group was as follows. In the omnivorous group, folic acid, 58%. By the way, folate deficiencies are extremely dangerous for pregnant women, because if you're deficient in folate and you're pregnant, that massively increases the risk of you having a child with Down syndrome. So this is kind of a big deal. 58% of omnivores were deficient in folate. In the vegetarian group, B6 and niacin, so that was 58, 34% respectively. In the vegan group, it says 47% for zinc. This comes with a bit of a caveat. Nobody actually knows what the cutoff for zinc deficiency is. We just use the typical reference range in serum for zinc. So they might not have technically actually been zinc deficient, but they did have lower zinc status on average. Despite negligible dietary vitamin B12 intake in the vegan group, deficiency of this particular vitamin was low in all groups thanks to widespread use of supplements. So of the 200 or so participants, 53 being vegan, 53 being vegetarian. They did not find a significant difference, between groups with vitamin B12 because vegans were supplementing, vegetarians were getting it through their diet, meat eaters were getting it through their diet. So
Yeah,
it doesn't. It's a small sample size, but it doesn't seem particularly difficult to just take a B12 supplement. In fact, it's the cheapest supplement you can possibly buy. A $5.
The bigger point really here was that on the omnivore diet you have all these deficiencies that are prevalent, and for some reason the vegans don't point that out all the time. Because we would think it would be a little disingenuous, because we would say, oh yeah, that's kind of a bullshit claim because you could just eat properly.
Supply will last you a year.
I get it. I totally follow. Okay.
Anything
else I say at this point will probably just be repeating myself. I feel like at this point I've kind of said my piece. And I'm just going to tell you that
Sabby defended me. Oh, you guys, you see, you had a little misunderstanding. Funny thing, I think when Wayne and I did a video one time, and I was like ribbing Wayne in the comments, his supporters were like all over me before they knew that we were like putting the video out together. It wasn't like me in the video, but it was a Richard conversation. And I was like giving Wayne shit about it in the comments, and his supporters, which it was beautiful to see because they backed him and they defended him. They came after me. Just like one or two people did. They were like, how dare you talk to Wayne that way? I was like, no, we were just messing around. And they were like, oh, my bad. Just, yeah, that shit happens.
I think you make some pretty good points. And I'll admit, a lot of my video was very opinionated. I would say there's some lack.
Well, here's the thing.
Don't go. It's
let's watch this last clip.
This is what I think.
Well,
okay?
Let's watch this last clip, and we can talk a bit about that.
And not to mention, I sprinkled.
So wait, before we even watch this thing, I remember when Vegan Teacher was posting clips of herself with an eye injury. So is this guy actually going to make the claim that she has an eye injury because she's vegan? Let's hear it. Let's just hear it. Because I'm going to point one of the videos out before we leave when this is done. That this guy, which talk about like being like just completely out of line, made a video about Richard's cat and claimed that at least in the title, I didn't watch the video, of course, at least in the title, he said Richard unalived his cat. Yeah. I mean, for anybody that watches Vegan Gains' streams, there's something very consistent about them. One, high level of entertainment. Two, high number of interruptions because he gets a lot of donations and stuff, a lot of distractions and stuff. Still a good stream. And three, presence of a cat. And he loves his cat. And his cats are like super healthy. And despite animals being very healthy, they too age and die. Hate to break that to you, Omni King.
And humor, Vegan Teacher again.
Hey everybody.
Who you've made 65 videos about on your channel. Yeah, let's watch it.
First of all, stay vegan no matter what. Second of all, so I had an operation on my eye called a vitrectomy, and when they put all the needles in to freeze it, my heart stopped.
So most of you probably already know this, but Miss Katie there was in her hospital bed after getting an eye surgery done. Now, what happened was the medication effectively caused her heart to stop, which is not supposed to happen. What that kind of tells us, I'm not a medical professional, but just from common sense and logic, it seems like her heart or whatever just simply could not handle the medication because clearly.
So you're not a medical professional. Got it. Okay.
It was in some kind of weakened state. Now, this is probably due to the lack of proteins because she's.
What evidence do you have to make that claim?
I said probably. I didn't say, and I even stated very clearly, I'm not a medical professional. Like, this is just like a conclusion that I drew that could be the case. Like,
so
maybe it's
even if you're going to use a statistical term like probability, it's probably the case. So let's say 50% coin flip, something like that. What evidence do you have to base that opinion on?
It's a guess. It's a guess, and I think anybody that watches commentary knows that we make some guesses.
So when you're reporting on somebody who could have died in an operation and you're saying their heart probably stopped because they're protein deficient, what evidence do you have to make that claim?
It's not a claim.
Zero.
That is
what
a claim.
you're not understanding.
It's a claim,
is that
and
it's
you
not a
have
claim.
zero.
You made
It's me
a
sharing what
statistical
I think
claim
may
that
have
there is a
caused it.
probability that her heart stopped because she was protein deficient.
The problem is you're fixating on the word probably so much when it's very clear that this.
No, he's really just fixated on the stupid ass claim that you made that was full of shit. And, you know, the fact that you've conceded about 80,000 times during this debate kind of proves that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And it's just a fact. It's just very clear that he was right, that you do have a chip on your shoulder, as your later behavior will go on to show, about vegans. And on behalf of all vegans, I speak for all vegans now, when I'd like to apologize for whatever that vegan did to you. And I don't know if it was Richard during this debate, but clearly you were making videos before that. But I apologize for the vegan woman who dumped you. I apologize for the vegan woman who didn't call you back. Get over it.
This is very much just an assumption that I'm making based off of the information provided, that her heart stopped.
Okay, and
during
what
a routine
information do you have
medication.
that would suggest to you her heart might have stopped because she's protein deficient due to a vegan
Because
diet?
she's talked about several times that she doesn't find getting the correct proteins to be important. So it implies that she likely doesn't get the correct proteins all the time in her diet. And it just, again, I'm not a medical professional. Somebody else could probably tell you why her heart may have stopped, and it may not have anything to do with the proteins. It is just a conclusion.
Oh, yeah, I know. I love when Richard's talking to his cat or watching cute animal videos.
That I came to.
So
I decided.
Cardiac arrest is rare, but it does happen. And you do see it sometimes with eye surgeries because there's something called a oculocardiac reflex. If you put pressure on your eye during surgery, that actually causes your heart to slow down. So if if you have like a lower heart rate,
I just love that Richard actually knows what might have caused this, because probably he reads a lot, or when this incident happened, he looked into it and he knows the mechanism that takes place that may have caused this to happen. And yeah,
naturally might be to genetics. Athletes tend to have a lower heart rate, and Katie's in pretty good shape for her age. You know, she seems pretty lean, not overweight. She might just have a lower heart rate, under 60 beats per minute. If you put pressure on her eye during surgery, which might have triggered an cardiac reflex, that might have slowed her heart rate down enough. Usually you see a 20% reduction. That might have disrupted some of the electrical signals going to her heart, slowed down enough where it was cut off and interrupted and her heart just stopped. That's a possibility.
She said it was due to the medicine, though. Like, but she
yes,
could also
when
be
you
wrong. But
when
that's
you
just what
inject
she said.
medicine into the eye, that's putting pressure onto the eye.
I gotcha.
So that could be a possibility. It could have been a direct effect of the medication. I know there are some anesthetics that do lower your blood pressure, lower your heart rate.
I'd say next time you want to make a stupid ass video, consult with someone who knows what the fuck they're talking about, but clearly you haven't gone that route.
I actually overdosed on a mix of opiates when I was in the hospital for in a E. coli infection. So I had 2 surgeries. It's basically a type of heroin, essentially. It's an opiate extract to put you asleep for surgery. I was also on a high dose of morphine for the pain, and they also gave me some additional OxyContin for the pain. So I was on a huge amount of opiates, and I almost died in the hospital myself. I could actually feel my heart slow down, And I ended up having an out-of-body experience where I think my heart actually temporarily stopped. And I literally saw myself lifting out of my body, and I could see myself in the hospital bed. And I had this crazy out-of-body experience. This happens. So, like again, why would you assume that her heart stopped and she had cardiac arrest just because she's vegan and might not have been getting enough protein?
Just because protein is important for the health of your muscles, on top of B12 also be important for your blood. So it just, to me, I wasn't passing it off as this is definitely what happened. I was passing it off as this is what I think may have caused it.
This was in the context of an entire video with the title, Vegans Aren't Healthy. So yeah, your agenda was clear, and now you're trying to wriggle out of it because you're caught. And this was so triggering for you, you made a whole channel.
Do you think you may have a unreasonable bias?
No, I don't. Well, maybe towards that vegan teacher, yeah. But as veganism as a whole, not so much.
Oh, you think 65 videos later?
So again, the thesis of the video is this is something that you're going to see crop up in an average vegan. What evidence do you have that your average vegan is going to be protein deficient and their heart is likely going to, or is more likely to go into cardiac arrest?
I use, like I said, I mean, you already saw, I use testimonials of people that are vegan, and that is what I use to represent.
Okay, so you made assumptions about that vegan teacher, had no actual evidence that she wasn't consuming enough protein or is protein deficient or had muscle loss. Based on that assumption, you're generalizing that this is something that might happen to your average vegan, that they're going to be protein deficient.
That could happen, potentially. That is correct.
Do you not see?
After all that he showed you, you think, okay. The unteachables.
How that's completely and utterly unreasonable. Like, again, if I were to make a video with a thesis that meat is actually really bad for you and the protein in meat is going to make your body waste away, and I cherry pick this person who clearly suffers from severe anorexia, do you think that's kind of fair for me to generalize and say, you know, this person eats nothing but meat and animal flesh. They're eating tons of animal protein, but despite that, their muscles are wasting away. So clearly, the reason their muscles are wasting away is because they're eating so much meat. If they would eat plant sources of protein like tofu, they'd have big muscles like me. So if you're eating meat, this should be a concern for you because your average person might actually end up having this condition. Does that sound like a reasonable, like, do those sound like reasonable inferences to you?
That the average person who only eats meat will look like her, basically, is what you're saying.
Yes.
I would need more examples.
Okay,
I would prefer to have more examples, and Will
get it. He doesn't even understand what he's saying. Oh my God.
Could are not the same thing. So that's the difference there. It's not a matter of will, it's a matter of can or could.
Well, anything can happen. A meteor might strike Earth tomorrow and kill us all. Is that something we should be concerned with?
I feel like because it could happen. I feel like you should see it as people, again, with the video, if they don't do the diet correctly, which I feel like a lot of people wouldn't, that they would end up like a lot of the people that I featured. That was the whole purpose of this video.
No.
Yeah, you can't really tell me what the purpose of the video
you're back. Yeah, he can, because it's very apparent.
Tracking now. You're backtracking now. You admitted the thesis of the video is that your average person is going to have health issues due to a vegan diet, and these are some of the symptoms.
If they don't do it correctly, yes.
And no shit. If I ate nothing
not
but
everybody
celery,
knows that. That's the thing.
No,
you think your average
everybody,
person,
look,
why
everybody
are there
knows
so many
this.
people that don't take their supplements? It's because they don't know the consequences. There's a lot of people that don't do that.
Guess what?
And that is the purpose of my video, to speak to
Well,
the majority,
guess
like
what?
a lot of people.
There's a lot of people who eat nothing but processed fried food.
Which is why it's common knowledge that people share online to each other, and doctors talk about it, that you shouldn't be eating processed food. It's the same
common
thing.
knowledge that vegans should supplement with B12. It is common knowledge that you should eat a balanced diet containing adequate amount of protein, carbohydrate, and fat.
You know the blonde girl that you skipped over, that you didn't? She didn't know that she was supposed to supplement B12.
Well,
she didn't
she's
even know
crazy.
what it was.
Well, guess what? She's crazy. Okay.
But do you think your average person is going to know that?
Yes.
Or are they going to have to research it?
Yes.
They're going to have to research it.
I would say your average person would know this. Like, by the way,
I see her as an average person.
By the way, like, look at the amount of money in the supplement industry. Your average person knows there's a risk of vitamin and mineral deficiencies, which is why most people take a multivitamin each day. So the idea that your average person wouldn't know that they should take some sort of supplements if they're on a specific diet, I don't believe that. Like,
I do.
Most people take a multivitamin.
I don't think most people take a multi. I don't know a single person that does in my life.
Sure. Also, just to point out, he's saying you think that people wouldn't have to do research on that? Research can be going on this thing again. I know it's hard for y'all to find, apparently. It's called Google. Just type in google.com into the... Okay, I'm going to help him out. You see that up at the top of your web browser. That's the thing where you do your internet stuff. Up at the top, there's that long bar. And when you click on it, you can erase what's there and type something else in. Type in Google. google.com. com. Don't want to confuse you. Let's take that again. Up at the top, where there's all the writing, click it, hit backspace. That will delete what's there. Now, type in google period com. A lot of people forget the period, I guess. And then type in how I be vegan, and you'll learn.
Met anybody that does that, so I don't agree with that at all.
You're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry. Like, multivitamins alone are a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Oh, I'm sure
massive amount of people are taking multivitamins. Like, look, one of the this is just common sort of this is just culturally pervasive. The idea that vegan diets are nutritionally deficient. People will bring up things like B12. I don't know how you can argue that.
Victoria, what's going on? Ooh, we're almost at the end of this one. We're almost at the end of this one. Oh, thank you, Victoria. So nice of you. So tired of the B12 argument, Mary. Indeed. 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 You know, I mean, I heard that, you know, when you're like 55, they recommend a B12 supplement to everybody. Vegan, omnivore, male, female, everybody.
That your average person isn't going to know to supplement something like B12 when it is so culturally pervasive that vegan diets are nutritionally deficient. So
let me just put it this
that
way.
doesn't make any sense.
I consider myself a pretty average person, and I didn't know about B12 until a couple months ago. So
could it possibly be, and I hate to throw out this possibility, I'd hate to insult you. That would be the last thing I would want to do. Is it possible that you are stupid? Have you ever thought about that?
Oh, and I guarantee you that most people also probably are not familiar with it.
Well, guess what? You are remarkably ignorant about nutrition. The video you made demonstrates that.
So are most
and
people.
I don't think most people are as ignorant of nutrition as you.
Oh,
and again,
you would be very, very wrong. Because if that were the case, then people would also not be eating until...
Okay, let's take this guy. Let's take his point that a lot of people are ignorant about nutrition. Sure. Those people don't make videos on YouTube claiming that they know something about nutrition. Most of them. A lot of them do. Granted. I'll grant you that. I will grant you that, Omni King. There are a lot of stupid people along with you. You happen to be one of them. Oh, I'm sorry. I just made that conclusion. My bad. I gathered up the evidence.
they have heart disease as well.
That's not
that
true.
were the case.
Do you think most people know cigarettes are bad for them?
That's true. But
So
the thing is, a lot of them started smoking before that information came out, and now there's significantly less people that smoke cigarettes because they know the risk of it. But before that,
that's
people were doing
right.
it, like,
but again, if we have a culture where it is just so pervasive, this idea that vegan diets are nutritionally deficient, you think your average person going into a vegan diet isn't going to say, research what supplements I should take as a vegan, what foods I should eat as a vegan? Like, those two things don't really seem to align with one another.
But that's the thing. It'd be like, well, the whole thing is, it's what started the production of this video were people.
What started the production of this video is a vegan dumped you and you are raging about it. That's what happened. Let's just be honest. Something like that, some variation of you getting dumped or ghosted by a vegan, is what happened here. Okay? That's the only conclusion I could. There's no other way for me to. I just can't see someone being this triggered by vegans to make, again, Victoria, I'm glad you're here so you can see why we're looking at this guy's video. So the debate that we watched, almost done with, came out over a year ago in August. Vegan Gaze has been making some videos about this guy because he's on a tear, apparently. He got destroyed during this debate. He conceded to Richard about 81,000 times. And instead of reflecting, he made this channel called the Omni King. Short for the Omnivore King. Short version's got a better ring to it. Anyway, I make content about annoying vegan activists that we all can't stand. And just to give you an idea, here's... I'm going to play the music. I pulled up some music for you guys. This really adds touch to it. Hang on. I got you. Damn it. No, it was an app. Shit. Hang on. Damn. Here we go. Pull it up. Damn it. Why don't I hear it? Still going. Still going. Doesn't the music add? Okay. We counted 65 videos about that vegan teacher. On this channel alone, he has another one, according to Jake. Jake did even further investigatory stuff than me. I thought my investigation was really thorough, but Jake really took it to another level. 65 videos about that vegan teacher. I think we counted 14. I could be wrong. I think it was 14 about Tash. And I mean, you can see the rest. There's some PETA shit in there. There's some Ed for some reason. Yeah. Even Ed wasn't safe from this guy's. Triggered him. So yeah, that's what we're dealing with. Yes. That's it. Now we're coming full circle, Victoria, you see, because it was his fanboy that we were talking about before. Also, we have this. We have this. I know. Is he going to make a video about me next? Maybe. We got that. I left that on the screen earlier, but we are going to get him a nice bottle of that. Nilf, he's here. You here, Nilf? Yeah. Just in time, Nilf, for the ointment. That's Nilf's ointment, by the way. Nilf is going to donate to this guy and not charge him, I think. So, yeah. But we're almost done. We're almost done with this thing. We went through the whole 2 hours, guys. And for that, I feel we all deserve a round of applause. What great timing, as we just pointed out how many videos he's made about Tash and Katie. So you didn't just make one video that was poorly put together, that you've conceded now had no evidence to back up any of your claims and was just basically a hit piece. You didn't stop there. You made a channel and you make like 3 videos a week in addition to your other channel. It's amazingly consistent. And for that, my friends, I feel he has well earned a nomination for Meat Flake of the Year. And I think he's going to be a runaway. They're not doing the diet that they're doing right now correctly, and they're suffering from it. And he's pointed that out to you, and I'm sure he's about to point it out to you again, but you didn't listen to him the first time, and because you can't listen to shit because you're dumb. Don't you get annoyed with his data? I saw that eye roll. Dude, you got Apparently you do. Apparently you have 65 videos about that vegan teacher to have 14 about Tash, however many more on your other channel, and a couple of videos about Ed and some videos about Ingrid apparently. And now you're on Militant Vegan. Who's next? Or 65 of them. Look at Richard's face. Look at Richard's face. I got something pulled up for you guys. I got something pulled up. Richard is all of us right now. That's a meme. if I ever saw one. That's a meme. Let's meme that. You know, when you said you didn't have anything else to say, you then talked for a long time. Just pointing that out. It showed. All right. This is for Omni King now. No copyright. If it's not clear, we're doing sort of a memorial, somber memorial. Okay. Please take it seriously. Hold your loved ones close. It's over. It's over. The bad man's gone. I don't know how long it's reasonable to do that joke. Guess I'll end it there. Wait. Oh, are you serious? Again? Wait, what? What happened? What happened? This didn't work? Damn it. My joke got kiboshed. How? You don't see this? Hang on. Let me see. Why? 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 You see it? You hear the music? You don't hear the music? What do you see? What is it? What are you seeing? What is even on the screen? What happened? Okay. Let's restart that joke. Damn it. Damn it. Now the moment's been lost. Okay. Somber, guys. Come on now. Come on. Come on. You guys could have just had a moment of silence. Would that have killed you? No. This is for Omni King. Doing it again. I feel like I got chat. Oh, it's all glitched up now. It's all glitched up now. Can't even see. You can hear it, right? You can hear it? Can you hear it? Now I'm imagining y'all just looking at me doing this with no context. I guess it's kind of the same. One more time with the other music, because I love it so much. Let me fade that out slowly. Okay. You come here for the production value, right? Okay, one more time. No. Doesn't make sense. What? That too is copyright free. Main thing. All right, guys. We did it. We did something that I don't think most people would have thought could be done. And we went through that whole thing. Omni King, use a bitch. Go and debate vegan gays. She's calling for you to debate. Do it. Go and get your ass handed to you again. Because I want the entertainment. Please, go. Go. Just do it. You're thinking about it. You're thinking about this shit all the time. Come on now. Come on now. All right, guys. The new game. Yeah. I'm going to play the Invincible in just a little bit because that game is fucking great. If y'all didn't see, by the way, talking about scary, there was a straight up creepy ass scene in that game that I just played. You might have to watch back because we were going through a cave and the dead guy was like talking us through the cave and it was really trippy. We're like astronauts on this planet. Damn near the whole damn crew is gone, dead and gone. It's a whole thing. All right, my glitch happened, so now I'm going to attempt to end this stream, and I'll see y'all in a bit. Victoria, Mary, Nilf, Brian, Sabby, Tess, Jeffrey, Alicia, Felix. You guys are badass. See you soon. Wait. I am ending it, but I have to. There it is. There's the button.